He stands 6'3".
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's Tuesday morning, 6:05. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. If you bought a Powerball ticket in the state of Arizona, yeah, you didn't win, but there's still more opportunities. Let me take a phone call first. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ, and how's your morning going?
Really well so far. Don't you ruin it.
Good.
Okay.
I'm not going to go get on a tangent. What I was calling for, have you heard anything about how Sprague's did on their food drive?
No.
I hope they did well, because I took some stuff down there. I just, of course, it was a rainy day. And
Yeah, and that does dampen, obviously, a few things. But his customers are loyal, and these hunters that are, particularly the ones that were emptying freezers, I get the impression they love doing it.
I enjoy doing it when they have it,
Yeah. Well, and it gives great opportunity. You make sure that your, whatever game you've got in there is not going to go bad for being frozen too long, and you got that opportunity to fill it again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hunters don't mind that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if you'd heard anything.
I'll see if I can't find out before the end of the show.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Man. Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, Richard Sprague has a food drive quite regularly, at least once a year. And for the food bank. And, of course, that supplies the mission and Salvation Armies and other kitchens locally because food from game, people that hunt, whether it's waterfowl or deer, elk, whatever it is, that's not nothing you can normally drop off at the food bank. Normally, they need packaged canned foods and all that. But with these kitchens in town that feed the needy and all that, there's an exception there. So, and Sprague's helps out a lot in that. It's a great marriage, really. Sprague representing the sport hunters and all that have great opportunity to give and like doing it. Actually, it's a good deal. I'll give Richard a text a little bit and see if he can't clue us in into how successful it was, and maybe if the rain deterred it a little bit, that maybe they'll do it again. To make up for it or something. The Powerball winners. There wasn't one that won the whole thing. I guess there was a couple people that got a paltry prize. Yeah, some little prizes, like $1 million. Yeah, five of them. Tickets purchased in California, Georgia, and Illinois. Matched 5 for $1 million prizes. Okay, matched 5. No, just 2. There was just 2. California and Georgia. I misread it. They matched 5. Not there were 5 winners. Matched 5. So you still have an opportunity. When do they do that? They Cyber Monday. I don't know if the next drawing is. I don't play it. I enjoy watching the people that win and all that stuff. And so many winners have gone on through great tragedy. Yeah, that ruins their life. They don't know how to handle the money. They don't know how to handle relatives that all of a sudden show up at your doorstep that you haven't seen. The relatives that really need your help and all that. They get, it's destroyed lives. It's unfortunately. People just really, if you win, they should send you to some classes on how to handle it. They should do that. Oh, it's Wednesday will be the next Powerball. 775 million is the expected. So maybe it's time to buy a ticket. I keep saying that. I rarely do. I probably haven't bought one in a few years. Yeah, but it's fun to follow. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. If you live up north, it looks like the El Nino, which is, I guess, just weather patterns. It's slammed the East Coast with rain, ice, snow. Typical. This is the reason we live in Yuma. And I like to remind you the reasons we live in Yuma and not in Kansas like Mel Shoney. He's a great guy. And he moved there for the right reasons. Family's a good reason. But if you live in Ohio, even, that's not New England, but Ohio, 1 to 3 inches. Pennsylvania, upstate New York, New England, middle New York, Vermont. Isn't that something they put in New York? Middle New York and upstate New York, they have to do them separately. We should do that for Arizona, say upstate Arizona, because it's much different than southern Arizona. New Hampshire, Maine, they're expecting 5 to 8 inches. 0.25, quarter inch. West Virginia, man, they're all getting hit. Washington, D.C. also. So if you're traveling, expect delays. Washington, D.C. airports, Philadelphia, Newark, New Jersey, New York City, Boston, thousands of flights. Yeah, just when the air traffic controllers got back to work. And air traffic control system is not 100%, but now we got this delay. So maybe they'll give some breaks to the air traffic control people. We're not going to have as many planes to follow. Be snowed in. Maybe they could take a nap. They haven't had much of a break. They're short-staffed because of DEI. I don't know if you knew that. DEI. Yes, there was such a push during the Biden administration that we hire only DEI, that whites were overlooked, qualified people were overlooked, so that they could get to whatever nationality or whatever race, whatever sexuality. We had to fill the gambit. We had to get everybody involved. They flooded the schools with applicants who otherwise wouldn't have been there because they wouldn't have qualified. They wouldn't have gotten, the top test scores. Aptitude wasn't right. Didn't match up. But color of skin, the race, they were underrepresented in the air traffic control industry. So heck, what the heck? Give them a seat. Dropout rates extremely high. So the seats were wasted by not training people that could do the job. So the numbers fell. And now you wait in line at airports. Yeah, thank you, DEI. Thank you for that. It's nice. Florida officer shot in the face. Oh, man. We assume he's in the hospital. There's not a lot about how severe the injuries were doing, but this is in Port St. Lucie in Florida. It's on the Gulf Coast. 6 officers arrived at the home at around 6 p.m. They had a call. Neighborhood problem. Apparently, somebody was so upset that a neighbor called in a mental health call because he wasn't crazy. Ran out in the neighborhood with an assault weapon. Yeah, that's what you do. If you call in and say, this guy's crazy and dangerous, and the health professionals look at it and made the guy mad, apparently. So it took 6 officers. 6 officers showed up, and 1 was shot in the face. The person that was mad, for whatever reason, I don't know if he was the one that got the mental health call called on him or he was upset about it for some reason. He was shot dead, which would be a normal police response to shootings. That's to be expected. The police chief there says that they're very optimistic for the progress of the prognosis of the injured officer we're praying for. He's asking for prayers that he's okay. There's a lot of tough times coming, more. As we're paying for sins of the past, sins of not taking care of people, sins of immigrants coming in unvetted, sins of too much acceptance of criminals and putting them on a pedestal and feeling sorry for them because they had to result in to crime to make ends meet. That we've sowed some seeds for the future that are not going to bring us prosperity, and a lot of it's going to be cleaned up. And I know a lot of that's going on right now, and we've been talking about it. We'll talk more about it. But as these issues are getting weeded out and weeded through, it's dangerous. It is dangerous. That the cleanup is dangerous, and I think that's what we're in right now. That's what the ICE officers are doing. That's what police officers all over are doing, and neighborhoods calling in a health call created a loss of life. Unfortunately, investigation's still going on there. Still, and that's a well, and when I remember, it's been a while since I've lived in Florida, but Port St. Lucie was a kind of a smallish, nice, nice little community. But it can happen anywhere. It can happen in Welton or Tacna. It doesn't have to be a big community. The big ones are I think more bustling with opportunities for bad stuff to happen, but it can happen anywhere. So be careful. Elton John is revealing that something that he thinks would make Trump one of the greatest presidents in history, which I was very interested in Elton John. Now, Elton John doesn't hate Trump. Now, he kind of, he approves of Trump. Trump is a fan. Trump likes his music. I think he's played for Trump before. Trump's called him in, and he's played for him, and they have a positive relationship. I don't know how he balances that with being in the neighborhood that he's in. The entertainment industry is kind of tough to say that you're a conservative or a Christian. It's kind of hard to do that. Or that you're Donald Trump. That's even worse because then you're all of that on steroids. Actually, the way he's going to be make the greatest president if he cures AIDS. Yeah, he's got to end AIDS. Elton John is part of the gay community, and I'm sure he's seen a lot of tragedy in that community with the spread of AIDS and all that. I don't hear much about it. AIDS is still out there. It's still a problem, but when it first became noteworthy, it was a scary thing. They didn't really know how it was transmitted completely. They didn't, there were people in the hospital dying that they didn't know how to treat. It was terrible. I mean, they know a lot more about it now, and there is something. There's a vaccine that's out there. I do remember vaguely when it came out, but they said that here it is. U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved in June, which I don't remember it being approved. I remember when it first was announced. It was in studies and all that. It's twice yearly shot. I like that they come right out and say it's twice yearly. Not like the COVID shot where you get it once and you never have to worry about COVID again. And then that morphed into multiple times. It morphed into, well, you're still going to get more COVID, but it's going to be a lesser COVID. It's going to be the cheaper COVID, and then, but you can't spread it. But oh yes, you can spread it. Yeah, you can spread it, and you'll still get it. But get the shot anyway, because if you don't get the shot, you might get the worst kind of COVID. It's all been confusing. COVID. At least they came out right here and said, yeah, you're going to need it twice a year. There isn't big promises made up front. Then you start taking the rug out. Twice yearly shot from Gilead Sciences. Now, as with any of these viral protections, immunities, and all that kind of stuff, they're not all 100%. Apparently, this one is. Apparently, the shot was nearly 100%. Well, I don't know. Was that 99.99? I don't know. Nearly 100%. Usually, if it's 98 or 99, they tell you, but this one says nearly 100%. It's effective in preventing the spread of AIDS in clinical trials, or HIV, and was shown to be superior to past drugs, which didn't work. So if you got a drug that works, it's superior. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey,
Oh, gee, I heard you say hey, then you got cut out. Well, then he got cut off after that, I guess. He must be in a bad... I never know where OG's calling from. I know he lives in a motorhome. Never met him. He moves around a lot, so you can't find him. And he moves into areas maybe that has poor phone reception. Trump previously stated his goal was to eradicate the disease by 2030. And he did that during his first term in 2019. Now, since then, Trump is suggesting cutting back some on the budget that supports it. And I guess the Senate kept it in. The Senate Republicans agreed to preserve. It's called the PEPFAR, the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. PEPFAR. He sought to cut some of it, cut it back. The Senate kept it in. I don't even really know where that money goes. When you have money that goes into to stop AIDS or something, I mean, how much of it really gets to where it's helping people? How much pays for offices, overhead tables, and chairs? I don't trust it all. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
is my phone acting up, Russ?
It was. You cut out after you said hey, and then I couldn't hear you. Then it hung up.
Yeah, okay.
Good morning.
Well, let's try.
Well, oh, gee, I lost you again. OG's having problems this morning. Elton John says the bipartisan thing makes common sense. Now, keep in mind, Elton John is not citizens of the United States. So I found this a little curious that he's leaning on the United States to do this. We're the ones who need to do it. We police the world. We make the world's drugs or do the world's R&D. Seriously, not all of it, but there's other countries out there doing things, but Elton John's looking to us, he says. He says it just makes common sense to see us come so far with the medical and scientific advances and to think that the only disease that can be completely cured in one's lifetime. President Trump has maybe solved the peace problem. If he wants to go down, one of the greatest presidents in history, if he ended AIDS, that would really be a feather in his cap. Well, how could he avoid that? And of course, they got that shot and all that. John says, he says he's frustrated with the U.S. and other countries over obstacles providing aid to HIV patients, because the budget cuts, legal restrictions, and stuff like that. Now, keep in mind, he's not even a U.S. citizen. He says, I'm encouraged by it. It's very frustrating when you've got the tools in your hand to end it, and then you find that countries won't help. White House spokesman Kush Desi said Elton John can rest assured that Trump administration is robustly tackling the HIV/AIDS epidemic both home and abroad. State Department is working directly with foreign governments to implement a global health strategy to streamline America's foreign assistance and modernize our approach to countering infectious disease like HIV. Health and Human Services, meanwhile, is advancing its next generation HIV prevention and treatment options, strengthening viral suppression nationwide via HRSA's Ryan White program, supporting emergency preparedness and expanding access to trusted HIV information. John has been friendly towards Trump. I think that's the right way to put it, friendly. I think he's got to walk cautiously. He said he's like Trump. He actually complimented him on calling the North Korean dictator John Jong-un Little Rocket Man, which is after one of his songs. He said, I laughed. I thought that was brilliant. I remember when he said that in 24. And I thought, uh-oh, he's going to get off the Christmas list of everybody in the Hamptons. He's not going to go. But I guess he could pull it off. He's been around long enough. I guess they'll just look the other way. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Well, I moved.
Okay.
Better.
It sounds better, man. What's up?
Okay. Listen, Russ, I was listening to Donald Trump over the weekend.
Okay.
And he's got the problem pretty well narrowed down. Remember, he was talking about those two National Guardsmen getting killed and wanting to get rid of all them people that came in with him.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what he's doing here, he's narrowed it down, went back in time in the U.S. history about the mixture of the population with illegals or non-citizens.
Right.
And at this point in our life, we are at our greatest percentage points of illegals, of non-citizens in this country. And he said that's just wrong. We got to stop the immigration. Remember, he said he wants to freeze it.
Yeah.
And for us to catch up.
He's not the first president to do that. It's not unprecedented. Eisenhower did it.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Well, not only that, way back in 1924, we had no immigration from 24 until 1965 until LBJ ended it. Anyway, but I don't want to get there. I want to talk about what Trump is talking about here. Mm-hmm. We've got 53 million non-citizens in this country. Trump says that is just too doggone many. Mm-hmm. He said they're not assimilating. They're changing our culture. They're changing everything. They've overwhelmed our school systems. They've just, like I said, they've overwhelmed our housing. 53 million non-citizens, Russ. We don't have infrastructure for that.
They don't assimilate. And then they demand extra. And then the communities in Minnesota have ripped that state off. And Tim Walz dances around with his jazz hands, letting it happen.
Oh, it's worse in Minnesota with Tim Walz, with Somalians. But I don't want to get into individual states. What he's talking about is the number. 53 million non-citizens, Russ. That leaves us 200 and something million regular citizen people.
Yep.
And this is wrong. The mixture would be almost 16% of our population is non-citizen. That's 16 out of every 100, and he says most of them are on welfare, are on government,
substances. Yeah, they are. They're getting some kind of subsidy of some kind.
Yeah, some kind of government. And he says that 61% patriotic citizens are full building or full planning all that, and he says just too much.
Oh, and it's been way too much. I mean, there's been all these generous blue states that give them everything, hotel rooms, and they've been spending upwards of $60,000 a year per person.
Okay, now let's go back a few years here.
Yeah.
1970, 1950, we had 8.9% of the country was. Now this is back during the McCarran-Walter Act, 1952.
Okay.
McCarran-Walter Act wrote a bill, and the population, the non-citizens, was getting overwhelming. Then that's why they wrote it. It was a 10.3%. 10.3 million. Against our population that was then in 1950, 52, and then you get to 1970, it got a little bit more sparse. We were down to. Well, let's see here. 9.6 million. Now, we got to remember in 1970, we had about 220 million population in the country.
Right.
And we fought in the Vietnam War, killing 53,000 of our soldiers and wounding 257,000 more. LBJ was doing all this crap.
Yes, he was very much in favor of that. Yes,
he was. And so anyway, so the percentages were down lower in the 70s at 87.9. We're up at a double that at 15.8%, and we have 53 million. And that's I want to settle there because we got 40 million in 2018. 2018, we were at 40 million. Now, who was president in 2018? That was Trump.
Yeah.
Trump was having to slow it down. Trump was just learning, catching on to the ropes, remember?
Yep.
All right. In 2010, we had 31.1 million in the country. And so going back to 10 years, we had 20 million. So 20 million 70, 30 million in 2020, and then, and then we got 53 million. So Trump I think he's got the nail on the coffin lid right here. I think he can do it. He wants to deport all these people. If you don't, he says, doesn't matter what country you're from, you're gone.
Right.
And I hope he can do that because listen, the other day I had a guy just cut me short in conversation. He was saying about Trump's and housing, and they need to build more houses. No. I said, illegal aliens have taken the housing. No, they haven't. And he just stormed off. By the way, he had Oregon plates on his car.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about it.
Well, it has to do with the school system that we got, and that's why Trump has already put the schools back into the states. Okay, but where this got out of whack. What I want to cover is what out of whack here. The other couple of weeks back, we talked about the ideologies not being tied to governments, and corporatism plays a part here.
Okay,
corporatism is just as bad as freaking communism.
Uh-oh. I'm losing you again, OG. Well, I think OG's in a place he's not getting great reception. Let me take a break, and I'll be right back. AM 560.
Sunny skies today with a high of 70. Winds out of the north, but not as strong as yesterday, 5 to 10 today. Clear and 47 tonight. Wednesday, sunny, a little bit breezier with a high of 69. Clear and 49 tomorrow night.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get kids up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them. So why not make life better for you? Get Strive-free checking at Avenir Financial. No frills, no fuss, no monthly fee. Open a Strive-free checking today at avenirfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Well, it's all fun and games until you're stuck with bad internet. Not so much fun. Say goodbye to bad internet. Say hello to local support from a company that believes in better. Say goodbye to the spinning wheel of doom and the regular equipment rebooting. And say hello to a hassle-free experience. Say goodbye to the internet struggles of yesterday and say hello to a provider that picks our community and provides a product and service that's locally rooted right here in our hometown. Find out more at allofiber.com. That's allofiber.com.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hansberger Refrigeration and Electric. Hansberger, count on us.
Achieve Human Services. Unique individuals, empowering solutions.
The cost of cleaning supplies to clean your office building, $250. The time it takes to dust all offices, sweep walkways, vacuum the carpets, and sanitize the restrooms, 4 hours. Having Achieve Human Services clean your entire office building, including the restrooms, priceless. Achieve Human Services, helping people with unique abilities to realize their greatest potential through employment opportunities. For more information, call Achieve Human Services at 928-341-0335. That's 928-341-0335.
Achieve Human Services. Unique individuals, empowering solutions.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3".
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. Tuesday morning, 6:34, and the phone lines are open. 928-344-5258. Well, the phone's ringing. Let me see if it's OG. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ. I'm trying to find my damn radio. Good morning, Russ. I'm trying to find my damn radio.
Hey, man, you got
There we
that? Hey, Carl, man, you got your radio on. You're hard to understand. You still there?
Yeah, I'm good. Am I good now?
Okay, you're good now. Okay.
Yeah, well.
I was getting confused. I started hearing myself and stuff.
Well, shit. I stay that way sometimes.
Okay, what's up?
Well, what happened, my 2 cents is for the day, and is what has happened. If we got too many coyotes in the chicken coop, or the wolves in the chicken coop.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it like our government is the big chicken coop. Well, what the Democrats have done is they've opened this up so much, and they're stealing so much and taking our chickens and not helping out the country. And the other way I look at that, like playing a great big game of Monopoly. And when the Democrats are in control, the banker cheats.
There's a lot of cheating and stealing and graft going on, buddy.
Yeah.
And and a lot more of it's coming to light. I mean, it's always existed to a certain degree, but it's been on steroids recently, since I think Obama, even with the NGOs and all these government grants and all the things to help the children. You know, it's usually around children. Got to help the children with autism so we can steal $100 million.
Yes.
I know. Yep.
And that's exactly what is happening. Instead for being for we the people, the Democrats are really doing it for themselves and then letting we the people pay for it.
Yeah, I think in Minnesota, they're talking like more than $1 billion that have come through food programs, education programs, autism programs. I mean, you name the program, it looks like, you know, that I've been reading, and somebody's got their hand in the jar, but not in a little way, in a big way. These programs have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in size in very short order because people found out how free and easy it was to get it just on the cash cow.
And that's what happens to a lot of our politicians. We see it right here in Yuma. I've seen it.
Well, the articles I read in Minnesota was it's primarily the Somalian groups in Minneapolis. Yes. And to get elected in Minneapolis, you have to have that group. That group is powerful enough at 16% that they're going to sway any election. So if you do anything to say something negative about the Somalia population, you can't win an election in Minnesota. So they get away with anything they want.
Yep.
Amazing, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, they're letting the banker cheat, and they found a way to do it.
Well, Trump has found a solution, he thinks, and that is, well, we're going to send them home.
That's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, then there'll be a smaller population, and the politicians won't be afraid of them.
Well, there we have a man that's running a monopoly game that's not going to cheat.
Yeah. We're talking billions of dollars.
Billions.
Yeah, and Tim Waltz is a smug little jazz hand, you know, tampon Tim is just, well, we're going to prosecute people. Trump doesn't do anything. We're gonna have the put him in jail. You know, it's like he's not concerned about it. He's just being flippant. He's the governor, and he had an idea. He had to know. I mean, with the numbers, there was apparently whistleblowers in the system screaming, saying this is out of control. Nobody listened. Well, because you don't want to offend the Somalians. Just give them what they ask for.
And you get more.
Why can't I be part of that group that give them what they ask for? I would like to get that to that level.
If you give them what you ask for, you're just going to get more people.
Well,
as goes back to, if you have cats in your front yard, the more food you put out, the more cats you have.
Oh yeah. They're feeding the machine. And it's like everyone dives into that, and it gets so big it can't get ignored anymore. It's $1 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we still have people, and we have people around town keep putting the food out to the cats.
Yeah.
And so what Trump has done, he said, no, we're not putting the food out anymore.
they're kind of angry. If you, I mean, I've got some stories on Kristi Noem and Donald Trump and some of the things they're talking about. They're incensed. I mean, they are righteously indignant and saying we are stopping this, and we're going to stop immigration from certain countries that have been feeding us, people that are sending money back to Al Shabaab and stuff.
Well, why shouldn't we?
Well, we should. We shouldn't be tolerating it. We shouldn't do it, and it should be bipartisan. Why the hell is it not bipartisan? This is destroying confidence in government. It's destroying the viability of our country. It causes inflation. It causes a reduction in profits, all kinds of stuff. And it's hurting everybody, 100% of everybody. And I say that
hurting the people that are putting it on, trying to change our culture and our country.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't hurt the thieves.
Yeah, and the thieves, they're smiling.
Oh my God.
And I'm really having a hard time with how bad they're really upset with Pete Hegseth.
No,
you know what? How many people did his lives really save by sinking those boats?
But look, it wasn't Hegseth that gave the order to do the second shot. Hegseth gave the order. That's the president's wishes to completely destroy these boats, just shoot them, destroy them.
Well,
and that's what they did, and that didn't come from Pete Hegseth. That was the admiral that was overseeing it. That it wasn't destroyed yet. Throw another shot in there, but they make it sound like it came out of Trump's desk or something.
Yeah.
But that's not the idea. The Coast Guard was doing that forever, in that they were trying to catch them, trying to arrest them, and it created a cat and mouse game of chase me, catch me if you can. And the Navy just said, enough with this stuff. Coast Guard, stand back a little bit, and we'll show you how it's done.
Yeah, here's a fly swatter. Whack,
yeah, that boat doesn't exist anymore. What are you worried about?
You don't worry about the flies anymore. You whack them.
Yeah.
So I'm really amazed at how people bitch about. Well, they've got to be making money out of it somehow. And to me, what they're trying to do is they're trying to change us to communists, and we're not going to do it.
We lose more people in drug overdoses than Vietnam by many, many more than Vietnam, twice Vietnam every year in drug overdoses. And most of that is this illegal drug. Most of that's fentanyl. Yeah. And that's what's on these boats is drugs that are killing the people in the United States.
Yeah.
And it's 2 Vietnams every year. We're talking hundreds of thousands of people over the last decade. And that doesn't count the ones that are walking zombies, and it's just ruined their lives. So it needs to stop. And heavy-handed as it is right now, there's a message being sent it's kind of scary if you're a boat captain on a drug boat.
Yeah, because you can't make one go fast enough.
No, you're not going to outrun that missile.
You're just target practice now, buddy. When you're down there doing that, just figure you're the chicken in the road.
But we got a lot of people upset about that video that showed that there's potentially a couple of people out there that were still alive after that first missile, and they sent another missile in to make sure that the drugs were sunk, everything was destroyed, and that the people were not going to swim back or not going to be continued on in their practice and trade. They were sent out there to do just that, and that's what they did. And we've got these liberals that says we want our drugs to come in or something, and it's a tough business. I'm not a soldier, and I've not been involved in that business, and that is a tough business. It is a hard one.
Yeah. Let God sort them out. We send them up there. If he wants them, he can keep. If not, he can send them the other way. Yeah. But that's not our job. That's God's job. We just stop them from killing our people. So that's what we did.
That's right. That's right.
That's exactly what we did.
The liberals are going to see it a little differently. They're going to say, well, if we could save one criminal's life, what about 100,000 criminal? 100,000, people that get into the drug habit somehow, tricked into it. It's prolific. They get talked into it and are hooked for life.
Well, hell, I might get killed too.
Oh, we're hooked for life or dead. Yeah. It's affected many families. Yeah. And it needs to stop. And this heavy-handedness may be what it takes to get this stuff curtailed. And I know our libertarian friends say no, all drugs should be completely legal. You should have them on the corner of every store on the corner, and anybody who wants to buy fentanyl, let them have it. I would disagree with those libertarians. I understand the basis of their argument, but this is potentially so deadly and destroying to our country. And apparently we did that to China. I don't know if we did UK or some Western country to weaken China is when they started importing all the opium to China. Now China does it to us.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that tide turned.
Yeah, well, Russ, as far as I'm concerned, we are so fortunate to have President Trump, and he's going to straighten all this stuff out. And he's going to straighten it out to the Constitution. Well,
he's got enemies that are growing rapidly all over the place. These lefties that are going to come out of the woodwork, that are looking for anything. And, that seditious six that put out that op-ed thing, that tape, it's just kind of like a CIA operative trying to destroy a country by spreading, authority and caution and there's going to be a terrible thing. They know what they're doing. I mean, these are professional intelligence officers that infiltrate foreign countries all the time to topple governments. They're trying to topple our government. And Mark Kelly is the key point.
Yes.
And they say, oh, it's no big deal. It's in military code. Yeah, it is a big deal. And that's why you're on about 10 shows a week trying to explain yourself that you're just a patriot and that you're a victim because people don't understand what you're trying to get done. Yeah, we understand completely what you're trying to get done. You want to diminish Donald Trump, hence our commander in chief, and put doubt out there in our entire military and try to get them to rebel. And that's sedition. And I hope he goes to trial anyway. I don't know what the trial will be. I don't know the ins and outs of the military code. But from what I've read, it sounds like he could be potentially in trouble.
Well, in my opinion, he should go to trial because that just tells everybody, we the people and the Democrats and the Republicans, if you do this stuff, you're going to have to answer in the courts why you did it.
He only did it because Trump's a political enemy. He did it because Trump's a political enemy. Now he's screaming that people talking about him going to trial is politics. No, it's not politics. It's military code. Yes.
But then they squeal, it's politics. Well, you broke the law.
Potentially. I don't know if he did yet or not. I think he did, but I'm not a JAG officer. We'll let those guys handle it. But I think the question should be asked. And then who funded this video and who puts it out and what's the rationale behind it? It was so slick and so good. It looks like something that was dropped on a third world country trying to unseat the current regime.
When you said slick and all that, it reminded me of Brian Fernandez. He's a good Republican, but he knows how to play the game very well. So
he's not a Republican.
Yeah, I apologize. He's a good Democrat. Yeah. But he likes to think we're nice when he's around us Republicans. So
well, I think he legitimately is a nice guy. I think he's misguided.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he is, and he follows the leftist agenda completely. But he does want to have conversations. He does want to interact, and I think that's okay. That's good. He should come and interact. He should get some truth and understand it. And we need to talk. But make no bones. I mean, don't let his niceness fool you. He'll vote for every radical left wing, crazy open borders and support our illegals as much as you can. Anybody.
Well, I know how Brian Fernandez is because when he was out being real nice at the fair talking to the Republicans,
sure,
I asked him a real hard question and he would not answer it for him. He did a lot. If you notice him, he was out there doing a tap dance trying. He wants to get all buddy, but he doesn't want to answer any of the questions. And
it's good to stay buddy with him. That's fine. But
I have no problem.
But he also wants to destroy ESA. He wants ESA gone. He does. Yeah. He wants to have only public schools, and that's it.
Yeah.
And your options are public schools, or you're rich and you can afford private. And that's just not fair for me. I don't like it.
No, because we're a country that try to achieve and do better.
Right.
And public schools aren't going to let you do that.
Well, they
want to indoctrinate you as much as possible.
They've been a disappointment. They have been. And not that there isn't some great people in the public school system. There's some great teachers and stuff. But the system.
Yeah, but there's a lot of crappy ones too, and I met them.
Yeah, they're
I see them away from the school. You know, when you get out on page 2 of these people, then you really see what they're like. Really amazing.
There's no doubt they've attracted some people that do want to steer these students into a leftist agenda. There's no question.
Yes.
Yeah. I appreciate your call, buddy.
Yeah, you know, when you get to be 83, you see a lot of stuff, my friend.
Well,
bye.
80. Bye-bye. Take care. I think 83 is a good step if you want to make 84. I think that's good. We'll be right back.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Maybe you haven't heard about us. We're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless has you paying for more data than you might need. Why? They might want you to cover the costs of younger people who do use all that data. If you're not using the data, you're probably being used. We've heard time and time again that some Big Wireless customers get stuck paying hundreds and even thousands more for years and years because they think it's hard to switch. Not with us. It takes just about 20 minutes and you can change your plan anytime without extra charges. We use the same towers as the big guys, so you'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Our plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
As the nights get colder, some Yuma families are simply hoping for something warm to sleep in. This holiday season, El Dorado Broadcasters and Avenir Financial invite you to join DJs for PJs, a pajama drive, bringing comfort to those who need it most. Please donate new, unused, warm pajamas, any size, from baby to adult, now through December 14th. Drop them off at our station, Avenir Financial, or any local Little Caesars Pizza. Your gift will help local families through Amberley's Place and Arizona's Children Association, because sometimes a little warmth can mean the world.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp, just like he said.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you at 6:52. My fact checker just sent me some interesting information, which is not unusual for my fact checker, Edward. He said the number of government-funded NGOs tripled from 1994 to 1996 under Clinton. And then it has increased by 15% every year. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that far back that Clinton spiked it. There was an uptick in late 2016. Of course, Trump was in office then, but I guess a lot of programs were already in place to jump 22% and then evened out through 17 and 19. And then congressional budgetary groups forced more funding under Biden, obviously. In 23, the number jumped again by 14% and maintained that growth until 24. There's no data for 25. Wow, this cancer grows like crazy, faster than what we can import illegal immigrants. Absolutely insane. And I know they're working to cut it back, cut it down. But most government agencies, government funding, government stuff, it's very easy to bring in, very hard to remove, very hard to get rid of. Virginia residents are going to have a change, but let me take a phone call first. You're on the air.
Morning, Russ.
Well, good morning, sir. How are you?
All right. I got a few minutes. I'll start off humorous.
Oh,
you
no.
mentioned you mentioned you weren't a JAG officer. That make you a JAG off officer?
Oh, okay. Yeah, make me a JAG officer. That's fine.
All right.
All right.
So you got to the opium wars, I was trying to call earlier, but yeah, that was going for. I don't think U.S. was even an official country. Maybe I don't know the exact.
Right. We weren't big enough to worry about it then. Probably that was
probably at least not, but definitely Britain, England was funding and trying to cause problems in China.
Yeah,
and it's called the Opium Wars. If you or anyone listening wants to look it up. Then the other thing is the color revolutions. Have you heard of those before?
No.
There's another thing for you to look up. I'm short on time, but basically the CIA, or it could be other government entities in other parts of the world, funding the overthrow of governments, and specifically they're known as color revolutions. And I won't go into all the detail, but that's a real thing. And then you have you were talking about the drugs, illegal drugs, and the solution. And there's no amount of enforcement, punishment that's going to stop it. As long as there is demand, there's going to be supply.
And you're partially right. You're partially right. But the growth in the drugs, the growth in the fentanyl, and the growth in all that, if there was as much noise going on all along like there is now about the cartels and all the stuff that's going on, there would be less new customers, and the old customers die off. But but we need to create an image and let people know the dangers, the death, and all the stuff that comes along with it, and not by just parents telling, "Oh, don't do drugs." By the way, as you're on your way to school, that's not it. I mean,
got you, and I'm with Nancy Reagan. Just say no.
Well, that's a good start.
That was a big campaign.
But I think blowing the boats out of the water is an even better one.
Well, it gets the attention of the world, but it doesn't seem to be curbing. It doesn't seem to be slowing it down. I don't know how, like you mentioned, I think once a while ago, how do they get people, recruits, to get on there? And a lot of.
You can say that there's no, there's so much demand it's going to create. The amount of drugs that come into the U.S. is mind-boggling large. Do you think that same amount goes into Saudi Arabia? That same amount goes into these countries that say, if you're caught with drugs or if you are a drug dealer, instant death? Do you think so? Of course not. And I'm not saying go to that extreme, but I'm saying don't think for a minute it can't be curbed. It can.
Sure. I'm saying it's not going to be eradicated, stopped.
It's not erased in Saudi Arabia. They wouldn't have to worry about, killing drug dealers. But
I don't know that it ever got started there, but they have something in those hookah pipes.
Well, but I'm telling you, there is a way to curb it and to stop the kids from being introduced. I mean, when it's so free and easy like it is in the United States, every kid has an opportunity. Every kid. Well, not every kid in Saudi Arabia is going to have an opportunity because there's not enough of it on the streets.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's an authoritarian ruled country, and theocracy. And well, maybe not theocracy, but it not like Iran is religion based, but it's a different culture. It's a different environment. And I'm not saying don't blow the boats out of the water. I'm not saying don't go after, the cartels and the criminals, and you got Escobar, you got I always brain fart on his name, the guy
Chavez.
Chavez. No, not even Chavez. It's
Guzman.
Maybe, I don't know.
El Chapo.
Chapo. Him.
He's in jail right now, but yeah.
I know. And I'm glad we got him, and I'm glad we went after him.
Yeah.
But now I'm out of time, and I didn't even get to your caller.
You're gonna have to call back later in between coffee runs, okay?
Now I'm gonna go home.
We'll see you, buddy. Take care, man.
daughter ready for school, but we'll pick up on that guy that called you a rhino yesterday. I do not agree with him.
All right, man. Take care. I'll be back. AM 560 KBLU. It's top of the hour. Tom Horn's going to join me when I get back.
There's a man in D.C.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
More voters can go to more polls in Tennessee now. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. On special election day to fill a vacant seat in Congress.
I need every Republican to bundle up and get out to the polls today.
That's GOP candidate Matt Van Epps facing a strong blue challenge from an opponent he calls a socialist. In a district that's typically red, President Trump won it by 22 points last year, but Democrat Afton Bain says
they should have been delivering for Tennessee voters and the American people rather than scapegoating and terrorizing our communities.
Congress will be investigating a growing controversy. The U.S. military operation off Venezuela's coast blowing up boats said to be trafficking illegal drugs and killing dozens of so-called narco-terrorists, with one attack 3 months ago in question.
The White House is defending Secretary of War Pete Hegseth over questions being asked by congressional investigators, lawmakers, about a September boat strike which targeted alleged members of a narcotics gang. The White House says it was not Secretary Hegseth, but instead an admiral over at the Pentagon who had ordered this strike back in September after an initial strike had taken out the boat, but that there had been survivors on board.
That's Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House, where President Trump may talk more about that operation at a cabinet meeting later this morning. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem will be there and may talk about what she proposed on social media that Fox's Chris Foster details.
The full travel ban on countries she says are flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. She writes, our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and the unyielding love of freedom, not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, or snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. A Homeland Security spokesperson says a list of nations affected by the proposed travel ban would be announced soon.
President Trump imposed a travel ban on 12 countries earlier this year, including Afghanistan, where the suspected gunman in last week's National Guard shooting came from. America's listening to Fox News.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer expires 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
An official message from Medicare. Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you got to make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money. Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
From the News 11 Information Desk, I am Jaylene Aguilera. It's officially open. Yuma County celebrated the completion of the Yuma County Administration Services Building with a ribbon cutting ceremony. The approximately 100,000 square foot three-level building is located in downtown Yuma. Wooden scaled replica of the USNS Yuma was unveiled on the first floor. Everything from the colors on the floor to the murals on the walls represent key parts of Yuma County. During their meeting, the Yuma County Board of Supervisors dedicated the new auditorium in recognition of Eugene Francis Sanguinetti. He was a community leader and business pioneer who made early and lasting contributions to Yuma County. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
'Tis the season for cozy nights, holiday movies, and full houses. So make sure your internet can keep up. Allo Fiber brings you lightning-fast 100% fiber optic internet that doesn't slow down when everyone's home for the holidays. Check them out at
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you, and I have Tom Horn, Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction, on the line. Good morning, sir.
Hi, it's great to be with you.
Man, it's good to hear from you again. I know you've been busy, but it's a busy job. I can't believe you're still doing it, but you must like it, Tom.
Yes, it's very satisfying. You know, I served from 2003 to 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was Attorney General. Then and then I went back to practice of law for a while to balance my checkbook because public service doesn't pay much.
Yeah.
And then I announced in 2022 that I was running again. And my friends came over and they said, "Tom, you're crazy. You make multiples more as a lawyer, and you were Attorney General. You're going backwards." And I said, "No, I feel like the biggest problems are in the schools, and that's what I have to work on." And that's what I've been doing, and I've been finding it very satisfying.
And do you find the job is done now? It's all fixed?
No.
And we've got some problems, but ESA is still alive, and I know the current regime would like to destroy it. The governor and the Attorney General currently would love to destroy it, and I know that's a big fight that you continue to support it and protect it.
Well, as an example, we have a family of three children. Two of them are doing just fine in the neighborhood local school, but the third one's needs are not being met. So now they can find another school that meets their child's needs. And I have trouble understanding how anyone could say the parents don't have the right to find a child that meets the needs of their child, to find a school that meets the needs of their child, unless they're so immersed in ideology that they forget about the interest of the students.
I think that's the answer. There's another reason beside the interest of the students, which should be the top priority.
Exactly.
I don't know that they really believe that public school is the best solution for 100% of the kids. I don't believe that they believe it.
It is for most of the kids. I mean, we have 97,000 kids in ESA. But we have 1,200,000 in the public schools. So the public schools still predominates. ESAs are not really a threat to the public schools.
No, and they're not more expensive as they would lie to us about.
No, they're calculated to be at 90% of the cost.
Yeah.
And so if we destroyed ESA and all those kids went back to public school, the budget would take a hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it would. But I know so many good ESA students here in Yuma. It's been a blessing for them, and they're getting a great education because of it. That they probably wouldn't be comfortable in the public school at this point.
Well, it's the great majority are happy in public school, and that's great. That's my big job, is to help the public schools improve their academics. But for those whose needs are not being met, the parents should have a right to find a school that does meet their kids' needs.
We've had the issue with distraction, really, of boys and girls' rooms and all that kind of stuff. It's about private spaces. Has that been mostly cleaned up and cured now?
Well, I'm in court actually litigating to keep boys out of girls' sports. We had a law that said that, and then two large law firms from New York sued to declare it unconstitutional, and the Attorney General, believe it or not, refused to defend it. There were four defendants. I was one of the four as the superintendent of schools. The other three all conceded, so I'm the only one who's carrying the battle forward. And she would not defend me, because she said she disagreed. Apparently, she thinks boys should be in girls' sports.
Wow.
Now, that's not a conflict. She says that's a conflict of interest. It's not a conflict. It's a conflict would be if you'd represented one of the parties. As Attorney General, you have the duty to defend departments, of which I'm one, and to defend laws that are attacked as unconstitutional. And she's ignoring both of those duties. I defended many things when I was Attorney General that I didn't agree with, but it was my duty to do it.
But there's no remedy if she doesn't do it. I mean, except to the voters. That's it. That's the only remedy.
the remedy is to defeat her at the polls.
Yeah, and I know you would try to be helpful in that if you could.
Well, I am helpful. I'm the at the same time that I'm running for re-election, I'm the chairman of Rodney Glassman's campaign for Attorney General.
Right, because you have so much free time. And
I think this is the first time that someone running for statewide office simultaneously has served as the chair of somebody else's campaign for statewide office.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it because I believe in it.
And I've known Rodney Glassman for quite a while. I first met him when he worked for Grijalva years ago.
Yeah.
And he came to Yuma. We went to breakfast and discussed him running. I can't remember what he was running for at the time, as a Democrat. But he wanted to talk to me and Russell McLeod at the same time, and see if we could support him because he had the right ideals, even though he was a Democrat. He thought we should support him. And I've seen him change and work on that ever since. He became a Republican shortly after. That was
the fact he worked for Grijalva, that's not something I could have done. So I suppose we should admire him for his ability to do that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I was a Democrat at one time. Trump was a Democrat. Ronald Reagan was a Democrat at one time.
Senator Graham was a Democrat.
Oh, I didn't even know that. But right now I'm reading some hate mail that's been texted to me and stuff that he was working for the communist Grijalva. I don't know. I don't know that Grijalva was a communist, but he was as far left as I'd ever want to see. But he was.
I heard that the place you could always find him was in the bar.
I have heard those rumors. He came a lot to Yuma and spent most of his time in casinos because he was close to the tribes. He stayed on the tribal lands when he came and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The only time I ever got to interview him or see him is when I ambushed him in a parking lot. that was it. But Glassman has been impressive. I did not support him early on, a decade ago or so. Since then, I've seen his resolve. I've seen his work ethic, and I've seen, he doesn't quit. He's got quite an energy with him.
Well, the thing is, he's got experience in court. It's military court, but it's court.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. The current Attorney General has never tried a case in her life, and I think that's a shame. We've had others like that. I was a very experienced trial lawyer, and I wanted to set an example because under the previous administration, to when I was Attorney General, who was a Democrat, I felt like they were too anxious to settle and they weren't willing to fight. And so I tried to set an example of, I argued in every court, Superior Court, Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, Ninth Circuit, United States Supreme Court, as an example to the lawyers in the office that they're supposed to fight. And I think Rodney will be the same way because he has a lot of experience in military court.
How long have you known Rodney?
Oh, many, many years.
Okay.
I think I knew him when he was a Democrat too. I appeared at some Tucson thing, and he had just joined the military to be a JAG, and I quoted him the title of a book that I knew of that was "Military Justice is to Justice as Military Music is to Music," and he always remembered that because he found it to be true.
Yeah, he came to Yuma a few months back and talked to a Republican meeting and explained in great detail what an attorney general does. Best I've ever seen. And I guess a lot of times that's never done. We just run, vote for me as attorney general, and that's about all you get. And it's because, and then they credential themselves is what they've done. But to really go through and explain the job, it's really interesting.
You look at the current attorney general; she doesn't have any credentials.
No.
Yeah.
And she won by 50 votes or so, I think. Something like
that. That's right. That's right. For Abraham.
Which was very questionable. I guess there's still 8,000 votes not counted for some reason. Yeah, and I think we suffer right now because a lot of energy and money is going into lawsuits against Trump every time you turn around. There's another.
Well, and I'm spending education money to keep boys out of girls' sports because she refuses to do it, which is her duty.
That is such a shame. That is not good.
Yeah.
Why would Glassman be the best attorney general in the pack that we've got running?
Yeah, I think that's what I was just talking about, is the fact that he has experience. He has a lot of experience in court. It's military court, but it's still court, and so he can be a fighter. We've had too many attorney generals, including the current one, who had no experience practicing law, fighting in court, and as a result, they were weak, and that's what we have now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, across the nation, we have too many attorney generals that are causing problems.
Yes, when I had a case in the Supreme Court, I argued it myself because I had a lot of experience arguing appellate cases. But a lot of these attorney generals, they use their solicitor general to argue in the U.S. Supreme Court, which is a shame because it's a wonderful experience.
Wow, that had to be a great day. I mean, that has to be a day a lawyer always looks forward to, is to be able to go to the Fourth Supreme Court.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
that is good. I understand you're going to be in town tomorrow.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
There's going to be a meet and greet at
Luke's Casino.
Luke's Casino, exactly.
Right. Rodney talked me into going.
Yes, he told me that you were going to be there, so I'm looking. I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, I look forward to how Rodney's going to be received. Yeah,
I think it's at 3:45. Is that right?
I think 3 to 4, 4:30, 3 to 4:30.
Oh, 3 to 4:30. Got it.
Yeah, 3 to 4:30, and Luke's Casino. Come in, buy a hamburger or something, and see. I get to meet, and that's kind of nice, to meet school superintendent of public instruction, and then also a candidate for attorney general, all in one meeting. And at lunch, you can come in and have a late lunch or early dinner, whatever you want to call it.
Well, we're glad to meet everybody who wants to come. And then the following day, now I'm there also for there's a Board of Regents meeting in Yuma, and I'm a member of the Board of Regents. But in addition to that, I'm going to be bringing an award to a school that has very high proficiency rates in Yuma, and try to get some publicity for them. And that'll be on Thursday.
Can you tell us who it is, or is it a surprise?
Well, I think there'll be a press release tomorrow.
Okay, I'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
We like to see as much excellence as we can, Tom. We do.
Exactly. Well, I love to celebrate excellence. I did the same thing in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the great parts of this job, is celebrating excellence. Now, mainly what I do is help the schools do better academically. I've got 15 initiatives, and I'm involved in every one. So I'm working hard, and very often the press writes about controversies, and I understand that. That's more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to know what I do, 90% of my time and effort and those of the department are devoted to helping the schools do better academically.
Well, I think, and I just want to mention something that came to Yuma since I've been here that has been awesome, and that is our STEADY program. I have been very amazed at how well that's blossomed and has supported local businesses, and it's been a real positive for our community.
Yeah, well, it's great to have schools connected with businesses. That's good for everybody.
Yeah, and I think
in addition, I've got something called the Student Industry Partnership, SIP or SIP, and that what we do is CEOs told me that there's a short. We have great companies in this state, but CEOs told me that there's a shortage of skilled workers. So I said, well, listen, I have access to 1,200,000 kids. I can get you skilled workers. And your part of the deal is you will tell our teachers what to teach the kids so that they'll qualify for a good job right after high school in your company. Because not everyone goes to college, and my goal is everyone graduates college or career ready, which means if you're not going to college, you graduate with a skill to get a well-paying job right out of high school. And we've got over 40 companies involved now, pretty much all of Arizona's largest companies, and it's a very successful project.
The neat thing about some of those statistics that I've seen on people that go get a trade in high school, steady programs and stuff like that, a large percentage go to college. It's both. You get the skill, and a lot of them have a greater interest in education.
If you need to be able to work your way through college, then it's good to have a skill.
Yeah.
And they get higher proficiency grades than the rest of the population.
They do, and it's
because they're motivated.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to actually go to a company and do some work there and learn about it, it's very motivating.
It really is. Tom Horn, I appreciate all the time. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you. I look forward to it as well.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And of course, that was Tom Horn, the superintendent of public instruction for the state of Arizona. He'll be in town tomorrow. You should go by and say hello. We'll be right back. AM 560.
Since 1905, the Yuma County Chamber of Commerce has been the voice for business in Greater Yuma. Want to stay informed about Yuma's business community? The Chamber connects you with local leaders, business and marketing opportunities, and advocacy that ensures Yuma stays a great place for your business to grow and thrive. Serving all of Yuma and Yuma County, including the Kokopah and Quishan nations, the Chamber strengthens partnerships that move our region forward. Be part of Yuma's business network. Call Valeria or Ashley today at 928-782-2567.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
All right, do-it-yourselfer, you've got the idea, and you got your building supplies at Southwest Lumber.
That's right.
Now, all you need is a bunch of expensive tools to get the job done.
Oh, that's right.
And you know just the place to rent them. Southwest Lumber, your home for everything home improvement. Southwest Lumber has half-day to multiple-day rentals available on just about anything you need to finish the job. Rent equipment and tools on Saturday and Sunday. It's free. Stop in today at 1917 South Avenue B in Yuma. Southwest Lumber, ready for everything.
There's a man in DC.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark back with you. Phone lines open. 928-344-5258. My fact checker caught me in something. I said something about the 2016 uptick in NGOs under Trump. Trump wasn't in office till 2017. Yeah, I got that wrong. I mean, he was elected in 2016. That doesn't mean he was calling the shots. And there was an uptick in NGOs in 16. So appreciate him for that. Yeah, thanks, Edward, for letting me know. I just want to give a shout out to Tom Tyree with the superintendent of Steady. Done a great job. I mentioned it to Tom Horn, but I think that's going to been a great addition to Yuma and Yuma County. So if you've got kids that are going into education, it's worth taking a look at Steady, which is part of the public school system. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
You narco terrorist.
Well, then you should blow me up.
Yeah, I want. What I'm upset about is whoever aimed those missiles. Why they had to use a second one that cost so much money to the U.S. taxpayer?
I don't know. Were they missiles? It wasn't artillery. It was missiles. Why would they do a missile? You know, we got artillery that's so precise.
I hear kinetic. All I know is somebody needs to go back and retrain because they wasted that second one.
Yeah, I don't. I'll bet it was just probably one of those little 5-inch guns, man. Those things. They don't miss, even though they're just artillery. And as far as that second shot goes, there's so much misunderstanding on that, and the press has created that misunderstanding.
I don't care except for the cost of that extra one they had to shoot. That's what upsets me, paying for two.
I think it was less than what the drugs they sank that was under it. And there was still part of the boat and the drugs floating. They didn't want that to go away. They didn't want that to survive. They had to have it all gone. So I think that was a lot of it. But the question is, well, Pete Hegseth authorized that shot, which he authorized the mission. The people in that were there on site completed the mission. I don't think they have picked up the phone. I mean, and see, I don't know for sure because I wasn't there, but I don't think they picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Pete, do you think we could shoot again because not all of it was destroyed?" I don't think that's it. I think they sent him out to do a job, and you got to get it done.
Mission complete.
There you go. There you go.
Mission complete.
But the fact that so many people are reading, well, Hegseth approved it. Approved what? The second? No, he approved the whole mission. Like you get, and that came from higher up. But I mean, he had to approve it, at his level. But
chain of command.
Yeah, there is.
Chain of command.
But the admiral on the scene, and there was an admiral there. That's a pretty high authority right there for a mission. The admiral said, "Make sure it's all gone, all of it." Yeah, they don't want any drugs floating around.
I'm just. This is what gets me. We spend all this time talking about boys and the girls bad or whatever, man.
Sure.
Look, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee and East Tennessee, where my mom lives, just got the okay to install one of those reactors we were talking about. I call it a pocket reactor, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, that's TVA updated all of that for mass production in the South to give power to the South. Okay.
Yeah, they haven't put any in yet, have they?
It's coming. They already got the okay to do it. They're going to put it in there somewhere in either Middle or East Tennessee.
Yeah.
Why, as innovative as Arizona is, why don't we have one already up and running? As innovative as this state is, the kind of money that this state has, the college that we have here, why don't we have one already up and running?
Because we're too busy suing Donald Trump and trying to keep the boys in the girls' room.
Now, we've got a governor that is, as far as I'm concerned now, is not even looking out for us. Middle and East Tennessee is pretty poor, except for Alcoa plant right there in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
That produces most of the aluminum products for automotive trucking and all.
Yeah, big name. That's a big company.
Right. Along with Eastman Kodak and some of the other big companies. And that was pulled in there by the TVA, by powering up the South.
I'd like to see that in place, because once it gets in place, then other people will be willing to, jump in. But I don't think we have one in place in the United States. The pocket reactor.
It's going right there. It's going to be right there.
In Tennessee.
It's already been ready to go.
Okay, who's going to win today's election for Tennessee 7th Congressional District?
Well, hopefully after my phone call, she won't even have a chance. But
and that's a Democrat.
Put it this way. Yeah. Look, put it this way: they cheapened out the moonshine in Tennessee, East Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
So it's quite possible that some dimwit like her is going to get elected by a bunch of carpet baggers that have been moved into Tennessee.
I don't know. She has come out vocal that she doesn't like Tennessee. She doesn't like country music. And how can she win in Tennessee? I'm just
carpetbaggers, Russ.
I'm just shocked.
I mean, people can call. I moved here from Virginia. People can call me a carpetbagger, but I'm going to tell you, I came from below the Mason-Dixon line, so I don't need to hear their crap. Stay up there where they belong, and stop polluting the South.
This Matt Van Epps that's running against her as a Republican, he's got active duty experience. He's National Guard right now. I mean, the guy's a successful business. He's got it all. And she says she's got going for her. She hates Tennessee and doesn't like country music.
I've seen her. She puts her hands on her hips and stands there like that dimwit on The View. What's her name? Curly hair.
Yeah, she reminds me of her.
Yeah. they stand there and blow off crap. I don't need that. I need somebody to lower my electric bill.
Not your IQ. Yeah.
Right. I need somebody to lower my electric bill. Put the reactor here in West Arizona, Southwest Arizona, and stop playing around. Just do it.
You were thinking of Sonny Houston.
Yeah, you know exactly who I meant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. She's
Yeah.
And people like
The
Sonny
two of 'em are
Houston, so
the
maybe they'll vote her in. I don't know. The polls are leaning Republican, but I don't know what the voter fraud is in Tennessee. I don't know.
It's immense. Bottle of moonshine and a vote.
Now, how much moonshine do you have at the house right now?
0.
What? You're from Tennessee and you claim to have no moonshine.
No, I told you I'm from Virginia. We
Okay.
drank all we drank it all before we came out here.
Oh, that
I don't
explains.
want to pay any duty taxes.
Yeah, that's good. You don't pay duty taxes on moonshine. They still they still do that, don't they? Moonshine.
I don't know.
Okay, then they do. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Yes, I can get you all you want.
I figured you could.
Man,
Yeah.
Look, man, I don't like interstate transportation.
Yeah. No, anybody that's involved will say no, they don't do that, especially on the radio. No. Yeah, I know. No, I don't need any.
I got some that peel the floor, your linoleum off the floor if you spilt it.
I watched a special on TV. It was for a while where they were interviewing moonshiners.
Yeah.
In Tennessee. Now that show went off the air because I think ATF was following those for journalists around, and they've spotted all the moonshiners. So people wouldn't talk to them anymore. They couldn't do that anymore. But it was interesting lifestyle.
You can get licensing to make it now.
Oh, can you? Oh, I guess so. Really? Yeah. That's I wouldn't think that'd be very easy to do, but okay.
No, it's pretty prevalent now through the Appalachian and all.
Oh, you mean they've gone legit and pay taxes?
Yeah, they pay taxes. They have to meet certain standards for cleanliness and I mean, there's some out there. There's some out there in the country betwixt the mountaintop ranges that still make it the good old way.
That just doesn't sound as much fun.
Hey, when it's 200 proof, who cares?
Goodness, yeah.
Like I say, I'll pull your floor off the kitchen with some of it that I've seen.
There you go. Hey,
all right, have a good day.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that stuff will hurt you. You want to stay away from that moonshine. Virginia residents, I find this very confusing. This was an article sent to me by Edward, but I left the phone on. Let me take that first. You're on the air.
All right, Russ. I've made it back in.
All right, good. Continue on.
Delivering McDonald's, not coffee.
Okay.
Got my little girl started, though, so I got a little time while she finishes. Anyways, just real quick, your caller, Ted, was talking about mini nuclear power plants, I believe.
Yes.
I think the problem with having it here in Southwest Arizona is there's just not the money, there's not the population, there's not the need. We need electricity, but for a whole new type of generation, not so sure about that.
Well, I think it would be perfect for Yuma.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be ideal to have. I'm saying that there's not enough money to pay for it coming in, and raising our APS again, I'm not for. And
I think the whole idea is when these things come, they would make it cheaper. They're cheaper to operate. And
I understand.
Well, you wouldn't have all the loss over the lines coming out of Palo Verde and stuff.
Well, Yuma has enough sunshine to continue on with the solar farms that they're already doing.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that there is hydroelectric in Imperial County?
No, I don't. Where's the hydroelectric?
I'll tell you, but you wouldn't. It's not, like the Hoover Dam or Grand Coulee Dam up in Washington or Parker Dam or whatever. That where it falls down and generates big turbines. But you drive along, when you get off the freeway and head straight down to Calexico instead of going into El Centro and Imperial, you drive along the canal there and you'll see the signs at various points talking about the hydroelectric electricity generation from the canal.
I've never noticed them.
And I don't think it's a big part. Washington State gets a lot more energy from hydroelectric than we ever would, but it is there. All right, let's get back to that rhino mud slinging. I got a lot of words I could use for him, but the main thing is, I don't think he is a big part of the Republican Party.
No,
I think that he is part of the minority, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have valid points, but he went out to a bit of an extreme when he starts calling you a rhino. And
well, everybody doesn't measure up to his ideology as a rhino. So I think that put 95% of us in that boat.
Well, it's because of the Republicans like Jeff Flake and McCain and who was the lady?
Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney.
I'm talking Arizona. The lady in the red dress at the.
Don't know.
The senator, you know her.
No.
We had
a senator?
Before Kelly and.
A Republican senator. U.S. senator or state senator?
No. Democratic senator.
Oh, Democratic senator. How can they be a rhino?
No, that girl wasn't a rhino, but she is a symptom of how Arizona is no longer Barry Goldwater's red state. It's more purple. And it's because of the Republicans like Flake and McCain that I am no longer a registered Republican. I registered independent. So you can't call me a rhino.
Well, there's a lot of things we can call you, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know where my politics beliefs and leanings are. You've talked to me long enough now.
Are you talking Kirsten Sinema?
Yes.
Okay.
But I moved on from her.
Go ahead.
The guy calling you a rhino just irritated the heck out of me. And he's part of the reason that I'm independent.
Okay.
Now, there's a downside to that. I can't vote in primaries. So you put up, if Kirsten Sinema were to switch parties against Carrie Lake, I couldn't vote for Lake to see which one, was going to go on to the general. But, the political environment we live in is, in my opinion, more uniparty than people want to believe. I'm not saying it's the same, Democrats and Republicans, but there's a reason people talk about the uniparty.
The uniparty is a flawed idea. That's like the Democratic Party in some of these states or counties or cities. There's only one party, and they always fail because there's no competition. Basically, the party platform's everybody's, and Chicago fails. It's a uniparty. Detroit fails. It's a uniparty.
But I'm not talking about. What I mean by uniparty is Republicans, Democrats together are like the same thing.
Well, then you just become like South County, San Luis. It's just one party, and it just becomes tribes within that party. Whose camp are you in? It's the same thing. There's always going to be a group that's going to have a different path.
Yeah, well, dude from yesterday definitely didn't adhere to Reagan's 11th commandment, did he?
Nope. And it's unfortunate. I think Reagan had the right ideas of, there's bigger things out there than to fight against within. We've got other battles.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right.
See you, man.
I'll let you go. I got it all out, I think.
All right. Be good. Call back if you have a problem.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. That's good. I started to talk about real IDs. I want to finish that. I think everybody knows what a real ID is. And when you go get your driver's license, you can get a real ID, which is more than a driver's license. It's actually, it certifies you that you're sort of been an additional background check or additional information that you're legal resident, you are who you are, and you can use that real ID to get on an airplane now. Because starting this year, you had to have that or a passport required to get on an aircraft, which is what we all think. So I was surprised to see this article that came from my fact checker that out of the Virginia, they're laying the law down about the real IDs. I didn't realize they were letting people on airplanes today, without real IDs, at least in Virginia. I thought it was a standard that everybody had to have a real ID or a passport, or you were not going to get on an aircraft in the United States. Well, apparently they've been letting them on, unbeknownst to me. But according to this article, they said, well, 94% of the passengers already are compliant. 94%. The other 6, we just let them on with some additional talking to and a warning that you're not going to get on next time. What does that mean? This is a law. I mean, if you had no ID at all, would you get on? Probably not. And for some reason, they're being lenient on this thing. I've never heard that before. I checked it. I checked it on just a real quick Google chat, whatever it is, to see if I get on an airplane without a real ID. And the answer was no, not without a passport or a real ID. But according to this article, they're doing it. But here's what Virginia's going to do to start clamping down. If you haven't yet gotten a real ID, you're going to be charged $45. That's Virginia air travelers. So you say, I want to get on an airplane. I'm not going to blow it up, I promise. And I don't have a real ID. Well, $45 and you can get on. And I guess they ask you some questions or something. They sit down and talk to you a little bit. I just can't believe we do that. We make these rules. We make these laws. And we say, absolutely, you're going to need it in order to travel. And then we go, just kidding. Come on in. Do you know when the real ID was supposed to take effect? It was supposed to be rolled out in 2008. The real ID was supposed to be rolled out in 2008. So it's the aftermath of September 11, 2001, that we realized that we needed to be in better understanding of who was boarding our airplanes and that they had some legitimate confirmation. Well, heck, man, since in 2008, even it got worse because so many states, in order to protect illegals and get as many illegals in the country as possible, were offering driver's licenses to anybody with a pulse. Yeah, just tell them I don't have any identification because I'm from a foreign country. And give me an ID. I need to drive it. It makes me a safer driver if I have an ID. And they issued them in a lot of states, like California. Just, yeah, okay, here you go. So the ID really meant nothing as far as identification. Just meant you had an ID. So the real ID comes out, which is going to be a lot stricter, and you have to show birth certificate and some background information. Or if you have a passport already, you can use that to submit and confirm that you're legitimate, and they give you a real ID for an extra fee of, I think, $25 here in Arizona. But now I'm kind of mad about it. Now I'm reading that not only did they not institute in 2008, but at least in the state of Virginia, you kept getting on airplanes anyway, normally. The people, the TSA officials said that paying the fee does not guarantee verification. And if they can't identify you, you still could be turned away. It's not approved. I mean, I wonder how many they actually turn away. I wonder. But if they allow you to get on the plane, you get a 10-day free pass to travel. 10-day travel pass. Travelers can also pay online at the airport before entering the security line. So if you don't have a real ID, state of Virginia now, you can pay before you get to the airport and say, I don't have a real ID. I know I don't have a real ID. I haven't followed the rules, but I want to get on the airplane and I'd like to do it online. It could take up to 30 minutes online and an $18 charge if you don't have an ID, a real ID, $18. And you just go through a 30-minute questionnaire or something online. This is kind of unacceptable. We make laws and we don't make them. Remember, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I guess it was a lot of years ago, maybe a decade ago. They said in order to go down to Mexico and to come back into the United States, you're going to need a passport. Everybody. If you don't have a passport, you're not going to come in. Well, it went into effect, but nobody ever enforced it. And I've come in many times from Mexico without a passport, like I leave it at home or something. And sometimes they tell me, like, well, don't you have a passport? And I always tell the truth. I said, I do, but I left it at home. Because I know once they put my driver's license in, they probably know more about me than you would think, probably. I mean, I'm in the databases. So you can't lie to them and tell them you don't have a passport. They probably know. I'm just suggesting that to you. I think that's correct. But, so I was telling them, they said, well, next time bring it. And I said, okay. And that's it. That's the big penalty, the holdup. Well, you're supposed to have one. Yep, I do. I do know. I left it at home. I at some point I thought they were going to do that to where you had to have a passport. At least that was the law. That's what they say, but they just don't enact it. And I don't know what it is. I mean, is there groups of lawmakers that appeal it and say, but we got so many poor people that can't afford a passport. And they do that with the voting. We got so many poor people can't afford a free driver's license. A free driver's license is way too expensive, and you're racist for asking for it. And everybody's afraid of being called a racist, so you just give in. Oh, I'm not a racist. You, of course, come on in. Yeah, whatever you want. Throw the race card, and you get you get carte blanche. You get it all. So it's infuriating. We make rules and don't follow them. And the real ID, I thought, was real. First, I heard that there's a go around for a 25. It takes $25 at DMV to get the real ID. And we still have people who don't do it and get on airplanes. Amazing. We'll be right back.
Sunny skies today with a high of 70. Winds out of the north, but not as strong as yesterday. 5 to 10 today. Clear at 47 tonight. Wednesday, sunny, a little bit breezier with a high of 69. Clear and 49 tomorrow night.
The Christmas Carol, a simple story that captures our images of Christmas. More in a moment.
Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros have been serving Arizona for over 20 years. Dune season is here, so ask about specialty tires for your toys. We also do alignments, brakes, oil changes, AC work, inspections, preventive maintenance, and more. Get your tires at any of our 4 Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros locations. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros wishes you all a happy holiday season. From our family to yours. And cheers to a safe and prosperous 2026. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros. Yeah, we got tires for that.
The Christmas Carol is an enduring classic, but for Charles Dickens, it was a story written out of necessity. Dickens had written the first part of a serial story that was poorly received by the critics. Frustrated and broke, Dickens walked the streets of London composing A Christmas Carol, the story of Scrooge and Tiny Tim that has become a holiday tradition.
Well, it's all fun and games until you're stuck with bad internet. not so much fun. Say goodbye to bad internet. Say hello to local support from a company that believes in better. Say goodbye to the spinning wheel of doom and the regular equipment rebooting. And say hello to a hassle-free experience. Say goodbye to the internet struggles of yesterday and say hello to a provider that picks our community and provides a product and service that's locally rooted right here in our hometown. Find out more at allofiber.com. That's allofiber.com.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
Hey, Yuma, it's DJs for PJs time. That's right. We're on a mission to collect new, warm pajamas for families in need. Swing by our radio station or Avenir Financial at 1780 South 1st Avenue and on North Frontage Road in the foothills or any local Little Caesars Pizza and drop them off before December 14th. Every pajama helps bring a little comfort this winter. Let's come together and make sure everyone in Yuma has something cozy to snuggle up in.
There's a man in D.C.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark back with you, and I have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Hey, Russ, how you doing?
Doing well, man. What's going on, buddy?
Well, I've been listening to your show off and on, and I heard some stuff, and my 2 cents now. Well, I guess I can get away with it because of the color of my skin, and when they talking about my ID, wah wah wah, it's racism, yada yada yada, and I'm laughing at all this garbage. And I'm laughing at all this garbage that we allow these people that come up with this racist BS get away with their racist BS. Well, the only reason they're doing it because we allow them to get away with it. With Jesse Jackson, all of them, when they said it was racist to ask Americans for IDs, and all the race baiters came out and they threw all that garbage out, we sat there with our hands on our hands and our lips taped, and we didn't say anything about it. We allowed this rhetoric to continue.
Yep.
And again, the media, very big, very important part of that. And what was his name for Adolf Hitler? Goebbels?
Yeah.
The propagandist?
Yeah, he was a propagandist guy. Yeah.
Right. Do you know how much crap he poured out there? He poured out so much crap. The Austrians, when Americans were coming in, the Austrians were afraid the Americans were going to rape their women, kill their children, enslave their children, take the food away, slaughter their animals. He had them convinced of all this stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what the media is doing to us today.
They learned very well, and I think this misinformation directive from Kelly falls along the same lines, trying to cause revolt.
All of them, every one of them. The only difference with Kelly, he's retired. That's the only difference. But they're one of the CIA, one of them was CIA, right, Russ?
Yeah,
CIA.
There were intelligence officers on that list.
Yeah, and they're government officials. These guys are government officials. But not only that, look at the biggest lie America endured. What's the biggest lie America's endured in our lifetime right now? Oh, one of them.
I don't know.
The biggest one is COVID.
Probably.
The biggest propaganda use in America to shame the American people in humility, where you allowed a government to say your kids can no longer go to school, you cannot have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Thanksgiving dinners. You could only have 5, right?
Oh, yeah, and they clamped you down. You no going to church, no Thanksgiving dinner.
We go to a bar and strip club.
Yeah,
we go to bar and strip club, correct?
I think so. I think the strip clubs were still.
You could, because we were going to karaoke, we were doing stuff, and we're laughing.
Yeah.
You had to have people 3 foot apart at church, right? Is it 3 foot, 6 foot? They had to be away from each other. So many in a church could go to, you could only have so many people go in the church.
Right. But the things that were open, like Walmart was open, but the small mom and pops, they closed them down.
Exactly. Now, is that propaganda 101?
Oh yeah, that was picking and choosing winners, man.
See where I'm getting at?
Yeah.
And we're still doing it today. It's the American public themselves, because we're not out there shouting. We're not saying, "Hey, this is a bunch of BS. This is BS."
Yeah.
Well, you can get an ID. There's no reason why you can't get an ID. You can get a free driver's license ID, not a driver's license, but an ID to go vote.
Oh yeah, you get that. I think it's free in every state. Probably they have some kind of program. If you can't afford it, we'll give it to you for free. Yeah.
Exactly. And how do you cash your Social Security if you don't have direct deposit? Oh, wait a minute. If you have direct deposit, you must have an ID.
Yeah.
So this is total propaganda 101. We're allowing it. Then again, the propaganda with these boats were being shot out of the water. Well, what came out the other day? Pete said, shoot all of them. I want them all killed.
All right. Well, and they have that. They've given out that directive that
exactly.
Yeah, eliminate all of it. The personnel, the boat, the drugs, the whole thing. Right. Eliminate.
Oh, he said that one reporter said kill.
Yeah, they did.
Kill them all.
They did.
Yeah.
And
now,
it's
did he say that? I don't think so. Do we know? But what they're doing,
I doubt
it. They're inflaming everything they can to keep away from what's happening with Kelly.
You know who bombed most people? Yeah, Kelly. Yeah. You know who Obama apparently was big at bombing people. The press never covered it.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. He didn't. You know what else he did? He killed a whole bunch of Somalians.
I didn't know that, but maybe that's one of the targets. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, because they were killing all the rebels were killing all the people, left and right, inhumane. Yeah, he did a lot of that stuff. But again, it's the news media. I don't know how we're going to do it, Russ. I really don't. But we need to put the media in check.
Yeah.
Because they're starting all this crap.
I think the media is starting to get a little bit of the message. They're molding a little bit. I don't know what it's going to come of it, but you're seeing more left-wing media asking hard questions from everybody now.
Really?
There's been more of it.
More of it, but not enough. They might do it here and here, but if what hard questions they're asking, I don't hear any of Kelly.
No, well, he's been going on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about other ones. CNN and NBC. They're not questioning whether did Pete Hegg said kill them all. I want them all killed.
Yeah.
Are they questioning that? That's the questions we need to for them.
Well,
not these cheesy questions. I want hard facts. And there's a lot of us are saying the same thing. We're not talking about going out, get your guns and ammos and yada, yada, yada. No, we want to know the truth, the whole truth.
It's a military operation, and they're going to eliminate this threat. And that's a powerful message. But Maduro's not scared of him yet. We'll see.
Why should he? Why should he be afraid of him?
Well, because
you got China, and you got the Democratic Party.
China's not going to sit there and block any attacks on Venezuela. And they offered Maduro a way out. They said, if you want to leave, go ahead, and we'll give you free passage to get out of town if you resign. He refuses. Right. Yep. He says, no, I'm going to stay here. He should take his money and run, man.
Look at Mexico. Their president's totally involved with the cartel.
She has to be, I think. Yeah.
Do you think we should worry about Mexico over Venezuela?
Yes.
Exactly. But the news media, she was going to arrest somebody who was speaking out against her.
Well, you could have that happen in the United Kingdom, man. You can have that happen in the West, which is all too bad. I mean, it shouldn't happen anywhere, but that's we're supposed to have freedom of speech, but.
And again, that idiot in Tennessee, I hate Nashville, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. It's going to be, hey, I'm out of time. I got to run, my friend.
Later.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye. I'll be back.
From the
News 11 Information Desk, I'm Jelena Aguilera. It's officially open. Yuma County celebrated the completion of the Yuma County Administration Services building with a ribbon cutting ceremony. The approximately 100,000 square foot 3-level building is located in downtown Yuma. Wooden scale replica of the USNS Yuma was unveiled on the first floor. Everything from the colors on the floor to the murals on the walls represent key parts of Yuma County. During their meeting, the Yuma County Board of Supervisors dedicated the new auditorium in recognition of Eugene Francis Sanguinetti. He was a community leader and business pioneer who made early and lasting contributions to Yuma County. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
There's a man in D.C.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
A lot of lawmakers want a lot more answers. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. About the U.S. operation off the coast of Venezuela targeting illegal drug trafficking.
We don't allow the military to act as the police officer, the prosecutor, the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
That's Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin as the controversy grows about an attack on one of the more than 20 boats blown up, putting Secretary of War Pete Hegseth under scrutiny when a second strike killed survivors of the first bombing. Fox's Chad Perkins is at the Capitol.
Raskin calls the strike a, quote, war crime. Hegseth and the White House say the strikes were legal. Hegseth denies that he issued the order. The administration insists that the U.S. acted to protect self-interest. Lots of Republicans have questions, but many support the administration's explanations.
I can't recall any time in my history doing counterterrorism operation where we strike a group, whether that's a building or a boat or a vehicle, and then we were like, oh, well, there's survivors. We have to go. We can't kill them. Of course we killed them.
That's Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw. We may hear more from President Trump on the controversy at a cabinet meeting next hour. The chances to end Russia's war are better now than ever. That's what Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said this morning after negotiations on a U.S. proposed peace plan. And Zelensky wants a meeting with American leaders as soon as possible after today's talks in Moscow led by a special U.S. envoy.
Steve Witkoff's meeting with President Putin is the latest move in attempts to bring peace in Ukraine closer to reality. There's been some back and forth since the U.S. put forward a 28-point settlement plan less than 2 weeks ago. Ukraine and its allies argued it rewarded Russia for its invasion and say they have secured a number of changes. But we could find out soon if the amendments are acceptable to Vladimir Putin.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. All the polls are now open in Tennessee in a special election for a vacant seat in Congress. America's listening to Fox News.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer expires 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Sunny skies today with a high of 70. Winds out of the north, but not as strong as yesterday. 5 to 10 today. Clear and 47 tonight. Wednesday, sunny, a little bit breezier with a high of 69. Clear and 49 tomorrow night.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hamburger refrigeration and electric Hamburger. Count on us.
This holiday, treat yourself to the gift of travel.
A new RV from the Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale this Thursday through Sunday for the first time ever at the Yuma Fairgrounds.
Shop and save at one of the world's largest traveling RV sales.
Explore millions of dollars of new and used inventory with aggressive end-of-season holiday clearance prices.
Deals this big move fast, and so should you.
Don't miss the Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale.
Thursday through Sunday at the Yuma County Fairgrounds.
Presented by RV Country.
Like the cowards do on the TV.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's 8:04 on a Tuesday morning. Phone lines are open 928-344-5258. In fact, it's ringing. Let me grab that. You're on the air.
It's ringing.
Yes, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you guys are talking about driver's license and what is that? Flight driver's license enhanced.
The real. They call it. They call it real ID.
The real ID.
Yeah.
The real ID in the state of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious who makes up the laws for that here.
That's a federal mandate.
The driver's license is.
Well,
so
the real ID is. I mean, and every state does their own driver's license. So.
Correct. I'm just curious, being that Arizona is one of those states that supposedly we have a lot of illegal voting and what have you not.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, why do we still give a new person coming in to get a driver's license? Why don't we make the new people coming in now automatically go through the real ID process?
I think that's
why
great.
do we still
Great
have
question.
why do we still have the old license?
Yeah.
I mean, I have the real ID because I mean I have it to fly and what have you not, and I had to go through. You can go online; it's relatively easy. You can go online and fill up pretty much all the questions, and then it's going to tell you at the end that you make an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
You get there, you can go through there within probably 15 minutes.
Right.
They tell you what documents you need to bring, and they're basically updating the entire system, I guess, or about yourself or whatever, which I think is a great idea. I don't think we should have two options, but I'm also concerned is when you go in right now to renew your CDL. I believe, what is it now? We can no longer. You have to speak English or understand English to be on the road.
Oh yeah, Trump put
Correct.
that in.
Yeah,
because that's a federally supported program, the CDL, even though states do it. Right.
Correct, and they gotta share information back and forth with the states as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Keep tabs. Why do we offer the damn test in Spanish?
I think it's a great question. The state of California has like 37 languages they offer it in, which I think is overkill. Crazy. Yeah.
I'm just wondering why if it's federally mandated that you can only do it in English, why do we do it in Spanish? Good question.
Great.
Great. Throwing it out there. I mean, obviously our state legislators and our state senators within our state make those laws and change those laws and do whatever they got to do. I mean, this is just one of many laws that is very, I don't know. I don't know if this sounds crazy or not, but I mean, with voting being what it is, and legislators and senators here in our state complaining about it, why don't we just wipe the rolls of the voting clean, dump it all in the trash, and everybody go and re-register to vote?
I don't even know if that's necessary, but
well, how many dead people do we have? Because
they all need to be vetted. They all need to be vetted.
Well, what better way to do it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That would be a big deal for a lot.
Why would it be a big deal?
A lot of people would object to having say, look, you have to redo it or it's gone. It's sunsetted. I guess. But I don't know. I mean, that's something we'd have to talk about. But it could be problematic. It could be problematic.
Yeah.
You know. I mean,
don't
just to
see how it
get
could be
past. I mean, it's
it's
possible.
If you want to vote, if you wanted to vote, and the state says, hey, on December 31 of 2025, we're going to clear the vote, the whole thing, going to clear it out.
Yeah.
So you need to come in and you need to re-register.
Well, there'll be
what would be so difficult about that?
so much hate mail and going in and they would attack elected officials. Elected officials will put a stop to it and say, look, just vet the ones that are there. You don't have to cancel, just vet. You know.
Well, we've been vetting for how many years now?
We don't do it seriously.
If it doesn't work, why are we going to do it that way, right? I mean, come on.
No, we need to. We need to vet them. We need to get people off the rolls. We do. And
we do. I mean, for voting purposes. So let's say you're from Washington and you come when you die down here. You know, one county is supposed to send your death certificate to the county where you're registered at. So let's say you're from Washington or from Arizona and you go to Washington and you died in Washington, and Washington, in whatever county you died in, failed to notify the county in which you are a registered voter in, then you're still alive in their system.
Yeah, happens all the time. That's why they need to continue to be cleaned up.
And then we'll go ahead and mail you a ballot, and then we'll forward it to you, or whichever way we're going to do, and that way you can vote on it and send it in because you're still alive. Same thing happens with Social Security and everything else.
It's happened. It's happened with SNAP and happened with a lot of stuff because we don't keep it like a business would. We don't watch it. We don't keep it up to date.
We don't want to. We don't
but
want
look,
to.
But for your plan to say, okay, we're just going to cancel, start new, that doesn't help us because in 5 years you're right back where you were. You can't just cancel it every 5 years. We should have a system in place that's better, that's communicating.
Okay. Well, I guess why change it, huh?
I didn't say that. I said changes need to be made.
Well, yeah, you just did. You just said right now we do that the way you're talking about. In 5 years, we're going to go back to the same thing again.
Correct.
I mean,
correct. Because we haven't changed the system. The system we need to have a better vetting process. It's obviously not working well.
Well, I think if you were to cancel everything across the United States and have everybody go back and re-register, I think you'd get a good fresh start now of what you're doing rather than trying to vet. But what do I know? I'm just a common person that wants to see change, and I guess we can sit around and talk about it.
Sounds like you're a victim
back
now.
And forth to one another. No, I'm not playing a victim. No. I've never been a victim, Russ.
Okay.
The minute you think you're a victim, you've lost the fight.
I think
you're
so.
Done.
I think so.
You can't be a victim. You can't, but you can't roll over and play stupid either. Because I'm not going to say playing dead. If you roll over and play stupid, then stupid is what stupid does, and that's playing outright stupid. If they don't want to try to do it, they'll talk about it. And every politician, when they think they talked about it, they always think they've done something about it because they talked about it, but they don't do nothing physically to make that change. They just talked about it. True or not?
No. It is true, but I think it doesn't end to that necessarily. Every time they talk about it, doesn't mean that's the end of it.
Okay, then we'll go 99.9%. Every time they talk about it, they did something about it, and that's where it ends right there because they don't want to change it. They like it the way it is. It's broken. You can manipulate it. You can push it through, and that's why they love it. And as long as the politicians continue to win, they're happy. But the minute they lose something with their manipulated system that they have, then they're ticked off and they want to change.
You don't like politicians, do you, Clyde?
You know what? To a certain degree, I have a lot of respect for some and no respect for others.
Okay.
So I guess I shouldn't say there's some that I do and some that I don't. But let's look at life the way it is. I mean, look at the last 35 days we had of a federal government shutdown that didn't affect me, thank God. But I know a lot of people that affected them on buying a home, doing everything, and it's business as usual. Business as usual. So you know what? I guess maybe call it what it is. But if you're elected to do a job, get up there and do the job and represent your constituents that puts you there to do it. Be real. Be real. There's a lot of politicians that have voted on stuff that in my district throughout the years And I called them and said, why in the world did you vote that way?
Mhm.
And then when they told me why they voted, I'm like, okay, you know what? I can understand it.
Okay.
But there's got to be a reason for it other than $1. And that's what's running our country right now is $1.
In some cases, you're
So-
right. Yep, you're right. And I think too many have bought into all the graft. I mean, the thing that happened in Minnesota, which may be one of the largest in the nation, is it wasn't unnoticed by all the elected officials. They knew. Some of them had to know. There were whistleblowers that were screaming. So they knew.
Of course.
So if you know and you're in charge and you do nothing about it, then you're an accessory in my book.
You know, and what you're saying is definitely true. If you know about it and you don't come out and say something about it, you're just as guilty as the person that did the crime. And it's been going on, like you said, forever. But these people that go to try to whistleblow, they're threatened with their job and with everything. So there's a lot of whistleblowers out there. A lot of them.
Well, a lot
But
of them
only
are
a few of them. Only a few of them that have the way to come through and let it out.
Well, they all
And
can come.
sometimes-
They can all come through, but there's going to be a punishment. They know that because the very people they blow the whistle are going to destroy them. Look at people we've seen destroyed that are whistleblowers, like with the IRS. They came forward. The Biden administration destroyed some of them.
Definitely.
And even though there's
and they
laws to
fear for
protect
their-
them, there's laws to protect them, and they didn't care.
Yeah. No, it's not a good thing, but
No.
I'm just saying, you know what? If we're going to make we're not going to. Our president made English the federal language. I think that's just the way it should be all the way around. Go to another country and tell them, hey, can you print this in English for me? They're gonna look at you and say, like, what? Dude, you're here. You know what? Either you come in and learn our language and learn our way we operate, or go back where you came from.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. I got to run.
So,
See you. Bye.
have a good day. Don't work too hard.
I never work hard, Glenn. I wanted to mention Tim Dunn made a comment regarding Ted. Ted, the Tennessee guy that has all the moonshine, that thinks Tennessee's way ahead of the game because they're getting this little mini nuclear reactor. And he's probably right. That'd be ahead of the game. And he says, but Tim Dunn, our Senator Tim Dunn, says we are actively working on getting smaller modular nuclear to come to Arizona. Need federal approval. And I've met with companies that are looking at Arizona very hard. So good. It doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of good politicians out there doing things to promote and make our communities better, make our state better, make our cities and those things better. We need not overlook them. They're not all corrupt. You can't paint that broad brush. But we have corrupt individuals out there, and we need to more identify them. And I think that's happening more and more, identifying things for what they are. And that's a huge step to recognize what the problem is. Speaking of recognizing what the problem is, Kristi Noem has just called, and she just did this yesterday. She had a meeting with Donald Trump and talking about travel bans. So she's recommending a travel ban on every country she claims is sending dangerous immigrants to the United States. And Trump is pushing this, particularly what just happened in Minnesota with the Somalian population. And people say, well, it's unfair. Not all Somalians are the same. And all that. I agree. Probably not. But we know we got a big problem in that community of Somalians, and that needs to be routed out. It does. She said, I just met with the president. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every blank country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. I blame our politicians for the entitlement junkies. I just got that notice from my fact checker, Edward, about how much the NGOs have grown. Now, these NGOs, non-government agencies, they apply for grants, and the grants get out there on the books to help illegals, to help all kinds of stuff. The NGOs apply for the grants, they get the grants. Money goes back to these illegal aliens, and a lot of that's funneled also back to the Democrat Party. Kristi Noem says, our forefather built this nation on blood, sweat, and the unyielding love of freedom. Not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, and snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. And this comes on the heels of this Afghan immigrant, the 29-year-old, that attempted to assassinate 2 National Guards. One National Guardsman, a lady, has succumbed to her injuries, and one's still fighting for his life. She said, it was Biden that brought them in. Illegally. This guy came in legally in 2021 under Operation Allies Welcome, where, what was his name? Started with an M. I don't know. Said they were all vetted. They were not vetted. Not vetted in a term we would understand as vetted, with checking backgrounds, checking criminal history, checking all that. They just checked, do you have a pulse? That's not vetting. And Noam's criticized him and says it was not properly vetted. The Biden administration's the blame. Inadequate screening of Afghans and other foreign nationals during former President Joe Biden's term. And we're paying the price today. That price is being paid right now. And it's been surfacing more and more. And it never surfaced because our press was blinded by ideology, sleep at the switch, and would not say anything negative at all. We love the millions and millions of illegals that are coming to the country and sucking us dry. Unfortunately, that existed for way too long. Drug kingpin El Chapo. Most people know El Chapo Guzman, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. He's been in jail. I don't know for how long. He's in jail. He pleaded guilty in federal court. No, he didn't plead guilty. El Chapo has been in jail for a while. I don't know if he pleaded guilty or not. His son, Joaquin Guzman Lopez, just pleaded guilty. I'll tell you about him because he took over for his dad, El Chapo. But let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
It's the white man's burden.
What is?
Well, that's the new talking point with the Democrats.
What the white man's burden? They don't. You mean the white
burdening the black?
The white supremacists? You mean?
Yeah,
the white Christian national supremacist?
Yeah, we're going against the brown and the black man. Here it goes again. Same old stuff.
Well, there's a few out there that would say that openly.
Yeah, that's the dude.
I got one of them here, a far left commentator that just hates white culture, just hates it and condemns it. I'll get to that story in a little bit, but you're right. You're right. They're out there. No.
It's coming, man. They're throwing it hard on the TV.
How could you hate a culture? And I don't think anybody hates the Somalians. Right now, we hate what they're doing. And we shouldn't have such a powerful percentage in Minneapolis that's running that state.
Well, they controlled Walz, and he was going to be our vice president. Woohoo! What's going on here, man? Step up to the plate, everybody.
Yeah.
Step up to the plate.
Walz is not a good man. What did Trump call him? Oh, retard.
RICO. No, he was running a RICO organization.
No. He said retard. I absolutely think he said retard. I don't think that's a term we're supposed to use. I mean, that's kind of
retard.
I don't know. No, that's work hard.
I heard it for years in school.
Oh, did you?
Come on, man.
Yeah. But it was used a lot when I was younger. Younger kids would call each other retard. I get, for some reason, that's been stricken. It's like the N-word. You're not allowed to say it anymore.
I don't know, man. My whole family was that way. Retard. That's what moonshine does to you.
You got my message at Tim Dunn. Tim Dunn said we're working with the nuclear. We're working with the companies. We're trying to get approval now from the feds. So
my power lines are hanging in the ground out here.
We got just as many moonshiners in Arizona, probably.
Nescatel. No. We're going to step at the plate here. This brown and black thing is already coming to a head again.
It doesn't matter. Man. I mean, really, does the color? I mean, color of someone's skin make a difference? No. It's just something you hide behind when you lose the argument. That's all it is. Well, they're after me because of my race, and it works. It works. Look what it did in Minnesota. The politicians won't do anything about that community because they're afraid of being called racist. And you can't win the vote if you don't have the Somalians.
Right. And I haven't heard or seen any of them Tim, any of them standing up for the American Indian in this country. No, we put them on reservations and kill them with liquor. No, man, this is crap.
Well,
either stand up for the true Americans in this country or get out of politics. You're not doing us any good.
Something Grijalva did is he went after that Indian vote. He stayed at the Indian reservations. He spoke with the Indians all the time. He worked with the Indians because in that district, it's pretty big. It's pretty big. And they deserve it. They do. I mean, they're a big part of our community. But he did not ignore them. I mean, say what you want about Grijalva being a communist, which he is. Right. He did take care of the Indian
everybody
tribes.
throws that word around like it's something new.
What, communist?
Yeah, they just throw it around just like a dictator, a retard. You know what I mean?
Nazi.
Yeah, we got to stand up to start by standing up with the American Indian. Let's start there. And then we'll worry about other people. You know what I mean? Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Talk about white man's burden. Please.
Yeah. All right, man. Go
Sorry,
away.
man.
That's all right. You
Bye.
call anytime. Bye-bye. Let's see. What was I working on here? I was talking about Chapo. Joaquin Guzman Lopez, the son of El Chapo, 39 years old. He had to go before the judge because he took over the family business when Chapo was in jail and all that. He took over the family business. He's a group of them, him and his brothers and all that. They took over the Sinaloa cartel. And prosecutors say that the brothers increased the production and distribution of narcotics, including fentanyl, created a massive pipeline of funneled tens of thousands of kilograms of drugs in the United States each year, per reports. Well, he was before Judge Sharon Coleman. Sharon Coleman asked him a question. What is your occupation? He said very plainly, drug trafficking. And then the judge says, oh, that's your job. There you go. Well, he got a plea deal. You know, he got to plead guilty. And he got a plea deal that he had to stand a minimum of 10 years instead of life in jail. He was arrested in 24 alongside his brother, I guess. Well, no, this one wasn't his brother. This one was El Mayo Zambada after landing in Texas. Now, Guzman also admitted to taking part in violent kidnapping linked to cartel infighting. He helped set him up, fly a guy to Mexico and all that stuff. El Chapo has been the big man before the Sons took over. He's in a maximum security U.S. prison, life without parole, billions and billions of dollars. But as far as I know, the cartel runs on. I don't know who's running it now. It runs on, and I know people say, well, as long as there's a need, it's going to keep coming. Well, I think we could put a big damper on it. And that's not by locking up individuals, users so much. It's stopping the pipeline. And we're smart enough, the intel's smart enough, and we could figure it out. We can lock down the borders. We can tweak all that and massively stop this. Other countries have. And I'm not just talking the death penalty for anyone that does drugs, but what we need to do is stop the funneling in so it's so prolific. Every high school has drugs around, and kids that are at that age that are curious and willing to take risk, try something that could kill them or try something that could hook them for life. And that needs to dry up. And that can happen when you start taking it off the streets and it's not so prolific and it's not everywhere, that it becomes tremendously expensive. I want to talk about the Minnesota welfare heist. There's an article on it that gives us some insights into it. Let me take a break real quick, and I'll get back with that. AM 560.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
For 83 years, Avenir Financial has served this corner of Arizona that we call home, helping local individuals and families breathe a little easier and live a little freer. With checking accounts that keep up with your busy life, savings tools to help build your future, and flexible lending that makes more possible. All from a credit union that started right here in this community. We are Avenir Financial, 100% human, 100% your local credit union for 83 years. Insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. Minnesota welfare heist. I guess it's been going on for a little while, and I'm going to talk about it after the phone call. You're on the air.
Okay, real quick, just trying to keep you on the line this morning.
Try it.
So, did you get my text message earlier about the geothermal plants we have? They're not hydroelectric.
Yeah, it wasn't hydroelectric. It was confusing me. It's geothermal. Yes.
Yeah, the one closest to the freeway is on Mesa. That was the very first one built because that was back in the mid '80s. I was over there working when I was working in steel business. The next one is up a little bit farther on the old highway going to Hopeville. Okay. So they have two functioning geothermals. This time last year, for a 3-month period, they put out 37 gigawatts of power just at the on Mesa plant.
Sounds like a lot. I don't know how to put that.
It's a lot. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because there's a spot when you get off the highway, and I think it's not the Grayswell, but the next exit after Grayswell, going towards El Centro. There's a natural geothermal spring that's encased in concrete, and you can actually get down in the ladder and go down and float in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it before. You know, it's refreshing for your old aching bones, but it's about 105 degrees.
Okay.
But
that's a little warm.
It's a bit warm. You know, I've had jacuzzis that hot before, but it's not good for you. It's not good for your body. But,
when's that ever stopped you?
Well, not really. But the thing is it's I call it brackish because it's got that sulfur smell to it.
Uh-huh.
You know, and that's the bad part about it. But I mean, the little pool is surrounded by trees, and you got to know where it is, you know, to get down in there. But it's right off the freeway. Next thing we used to have right here in Yuma. There used to be a geothermal spring right down there in the middle of where the freeway is on 16th Street Bridge goes over the top of it.
Really?
You should check that. Yeah, you should check that out. When I was a kid, we used to go down there. Now it tells you how old I am.
On 16th Street? Where at?
Right on 16th Street. As you're crossing 16th Street Bridge on Highway 95, heading east. Right down the bottom of the freeway is in the center of the freeway. There used to be a hot spring there, a natural hot spring.
Wow.
Look it up.
All right. Well, it's gone now? There's no hot springs down there?
Yeah, there's nothing there. They sucked all the water out of the ground. You know the program.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thanks, care, man. So we get a little history now from Andy. Hydro. It was not hydroelectric. That was confusing me. Minnesota welfare heist. And this article talks about the sloppy Democrat-run big government, and that Tim Walz he's a lightweight, and he's at the very top of it. And over several years, mostly Somalian refugees, and this article says mostly, which Tim Walz says, you know, when he was interviewed the other day, and they was asking about, you know, Somalia influence and all that are, you know, stealing. He says, no, we've got a very prosperous state with a lot of great benefits. We're AAA bonded, and it attracts criminals. We got a lot more criminals other than Somalis. Like, he was proud of all the criminals or something. He didn't want to pick on the Somalis as a group because I guess they got a lot of political power now. But there's been a heist of state funds, and a lot of those state funds are federal funds too because they get reimbursed by feds. And this talks about some of the fraud this article says it's a theft so mammoth that hundreds of employees of the Minnesota Department of Human Resources wrote anonymous on X. So it's been going on, and that's why I say whistleblowers. These guys have been putting on X anonymously. That Waltz, who serves as Vice President Kamala Harris' running mate, has failed Minnesota. Tim Waltz is 100% responsible for the massive fraud in Minnesota. And these are the employees that work there that watches the money fly across their desk. But the liberal media has been mute, mostly, over a multi-year scandal. This isn't just starting. This has been going on for a while. Because it's staggering in its scale and brazenness, according to the article. It's resulted in a loss of more than $1 billion, which is much more than what Minnesota spends annually on its Department of Corrections. And yeah, some of it is fund to Al-Shabaab. Now, the New York Times didn't put the Al-Shabaab. They said they couldn't find the connection. Other artists, and one were Rufo and Thorpe. I don't know who that is. They claim, quoting one confidential source, telling him that the largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer. Well, when Trump read these reports and Trump saw it, he has obviously been going off on this as unacceptable. He said, and he writes on Truth Social, Minnesota under Governor Waltz is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activities. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people of the great state, and billions of dollars are missing. Send them back to where they came from. It's over, President DJT. Trump, that's when he mentioned that he's terminating the temporary protected status of Somalians in Minnesota. There are 76,000 people of Somali ancestry in the state. Many who received temporary protected status when they immigrated to the U.S. during the Civil War in the 1990s. He said there's only 705 enrolled in the program today. I don't know what benefits they get because of that, but it's been canceled. He said this is not a one-off abuse of a health emergency, but it's been under investigation by federal prosecutors since the early days of the pandemic. So they've been investigating forever. They've charged 86 people, which Tim Waltz, don't let me confuse those two. Tim Waltz admits, yeah, we're going to put the criminals in jail. They've convicted 59, all but 8 are Somalis. All but 8. That's a big percentage when they only make up about 15% of the population. There was at least 3 schemes carried out to defraud Minnesota authorities, and these are some of the early on that's been going on. The first was under the umbrella of a child's meals program called Feeding Our Future. It was a nonprofit, probably an NGO. Local Somali-owned business, feeding tens of thousands of children. And they were really submitting bogus reimbursement claims, defrauding the state, and received almost $200 million in funding. Now, they're not the only criminal enterprise that's been draining it. Another scheme stole federally funded healthcare benefits from the state's Housing Stability Service Program. It's an initiative to help seniors, people struggling with mental health problems, and addiction to find housing. Now, the fraudsters found people who might be eligible for the program from facilities like rehab centers, submitted fake reimbursement claims on their behalf, and the predicted cost was $2.6 million per year, was what they were initially. They soared to $21 million in 2021, to $104 million last year. From $21 million in 2021 to $104 million last year. That was 24. So in 3 years, they were charged to 8 people with wire fraud, according to U.S. Attorney Joseph H. Thompson. I want to be clear, and keep in mind, there's lots of these fraud schemes going on in the Somali community. I'm just mentioning a few of them. I want to be clear on the scope of the crisis. What we are seeing, schemes stacked upon schemes, draining sources meant for those in need. This is from the judge. I spent my career as a fraud prosecutor, and the depth of the fraud in Minnesota takes my breath away. One of the perpetrators named is Asha Farhan Hassan. He targeted a Minnesota healthcare program offering medical services to young people with autism. You heard about autism being in there. He and his partners approached parents in the Somali community to recruit them. A child did not have to have autism diagnosed. and an individual treatment plan. They didn't have to have any of that, but they recruited the children. Hassan and her partners, it's a female, they worked with the program to recruit a child qualified for autism services. Then they paid the parents a kickback for letting them use the child's name. And the parents would get anywhere from $300 to $1,500 a month. And then they raked in $14 million. The Hassan and the partners in this one scream. Some which used to buy property in Kenya. I guess he was looking for an escape plan. Why didn't Minnesota authorities crack down on it sooner? Reportedly, they were afraid of offending the Somali community. It's a solid voting block for Waltz and his Democrat colleague. One local politician put it this way: if you don't win the Somali community, you can't win Minneapolis. And if you don't win Minneapolis, you can't win the state in the story. And that's the rub. That's why the politicians haven't been going after them, because they're afraid of the voting block. Several blue states have refused in recent months to turn over information about food stamps or Social Security benefits. And I don't know if you've heard about that, but ever since DOGE started, and they want to start getting information on food stamp recipients. Now, keep in mind, food stamps, that's a federal program. The states run it. They pay out the money, and the feds reimburse. Well, so the feds are asking, like, well, give me some information about the participants. Who are you giving the money to? Some states refuse to turn it over. They don't turn over Social Security benefits. So the federal government just says, well, there's nothing we can do. We can't investigate the allegations of fraud, which it's got to be frustrating to anybody that's trying to do that. And of course, right now, Donald Trump's trying to change all of that. That's why the Democrats are so scared right now. With the big, beautiful bills tightened up a lot of it already on some avenues like the NGOs and stuff. And they're scared because these are big funding. It's a big funding for the Democrat Party. The fraud that goes on. Because the people that are receiving the bounty of money that's supposed to go to sick kids and feed families and all that, there's people getting huge money, are all contributors to Democrat Party. And they don't want to see that Democrat Party thing, that funding dry up. They don't want to see it dry up. So they just create more NGOs. NGOs, according to Edwards, gone up 15% every year since the 90s. Non-government organization to get government grants, to give away government money. And yeah, they were giving government money away to everybody that came across the country illegally in Yuma. They were getting money. And Joe Biden was asked about that because that word gets out. Everybody's getting $3,500, $4,000. I've heard $5,000. The money changed just for coming across to help you get to where you're going, food, lodging, whatever. And he can deny it. I haven't given him anything because he knows it's going through NGOs. It's not trackable directly to him. It wasn't an executive order. It was a government grant that they applied for and got. And some office in the government put out a government grant to give people money, but it didn't come from Biden. That's how they have cover. It's a racket. I mean, the country is being run like a criminal enterprise, where it's hard to figure out who's giving it, where is it going, and that's what Trump's been cracking down on, is some of the NGOs and all that. Now, obviously, Waltz isn't cracking down on anything. He's not going after anybody. He said he'll prosecute the criminals, but I guess it's up to Trump to go find them. He's not doing a crackdown. Can you imagine in Florida or something with DeSantis, that criminal activity was going on and he just sits on his hands and nothing I can do? No. I think most governors, competent governors, would take care of the citizens of the state and not give $1 billion to criminal activity. $1 billion plus. I mean, they're uncovering more every day. Apparently these Somali groups are very prolific at finding ways to take money out of the government coffers, which is unfortunate. Phone lines are open, 928-344-4200. 5258. Discrimination. Yeah, it's a bad word. Discrimination. Nobody supports it. At least as far as I know, nobody supports it. A civil rights group just filed a federal discrimination complaint with the U.S. Justice Department on Monday. That was yesterday. Filed the complaint because of the colleges in California discriminating. They're alleging that the deferred action for childhood arrivals, that's DACA, undocumented workers, programs at California college campuses unlawfully exclude American-born citizens. And we've known this for years. That there's programs set up specifically just for people that are not natural citizens, are not citizens at all, come to the country illegally, because we need to take care of them. I didn't know how widespread it is, and I'll get back to that story. Let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning. Your earlier caller in the last segment there was correct that there was a hot springs located there on that, I believe it was on the side of that hill where the water tanks are in Yuma.
Oh, okay. We need to get a shovel out and see if we can't dig it up.
If you drilled it, you'd probably get warm water. I don't know if it's good enough for to put in a swimming pool. They're looking for moving swimming pools around. There's a spot.
Yeah, they just close swimming pools right now in the city. Yeah.
Put one in between the railroad and the freeway up there on the south side of that hill with a view and seating area and an open bar.
You'd have to move a few homeless people, but yeah, that'd probably be a great place for it. It's not land that's very well used.
No, it's not being used at all. There was also a hot springs resort of some sort that was I think on the northeast side of Antelope Hill, out past Welton there.
I remember that one. I think I visited the houses that were there or whatever.
I think there was some stone walls or something that are still there. I've never really seen it.
Yeah, and there used to be a commune or something up there, wasn't there? Some kind of.
Well, there was one that was all the way out at Agua Caliente where they're raising
that's
fish.
It. That's the one I was thinking.
I think they're raising fish out there. They're raising
tilapia. Yeah.
Well, tilapia, but then the thing about maybe 3 months ago, there was an article about them also raising barramundi because they could keep those ponds warm.
Oh, well, they started off with shrimp.
Yeah, barramundi is an Asian carp. No, not carp. It's an Asian. Try again. It's an Asian sea bass, and they have a life cycle that's something like a salmon. They spawn and grow to their starting size up in the rivers, and then they go to sea for all their life, and then they come back in again. But they'll top 100 pounds.
Oh, I'm not familiar with them, and I think that was Tark out there that was running those things. I don't know if he still owns it, but I don't know.
I don't know, but there was an interview in the paper back, I'm thinking 3 months ago.
Oh, okay.
But you need to stop down to Fry's and go get yourself some fillets of that. that kind of a fish. They have them in the frozen packages already breaded.
I went out and visited that facility probably 6-7 years ago, and it's amazing to see how they're growing these fish, and they drove a lot of them to restaurants in Los Angeles. The finished products.
You can get the. I think that you mentioned the commune sort of a thing out there. I think that was Agua Caliente that had that north of Dayton.
That might still exist too. There might still be people out there.
We don't know.
We need to go find out. We'll do that. Right.
Well, don't bring a bathing suit, probably.
No, don't. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, interesting. These discrimination complaint is against the colleges, University of California, the California State University, the California Community College Systems, and 138 participating California public colleges and universities. They're alleging that they violated Title IV of the or Title VI, I'm sorry, of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits educational institutions that receive federal funding from discriminating on the basis of race, color, or national origin, and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which is probably all true. So they sent a letter to the Assistant Attorney Harmet Dillon And they argue that the programs provide benefits restricted to DACA recipients and undocumented students. So those are the only ones that can benefit from programs. And it's effective. They exclude American-born citizens. Yeah, you can't receive any of this. And they have an attached document list that links to campus programs describing services as dedicated funding, dedicated staff, dedicated counseling, advocacy, and other forms of support. So there's a special treatment going on for one group of people, which is a direct violation of the Civil Rights Act. Most people don't see it that way. They say, well, but these people need special help and special care because we love illegals more than we love American citizens. I'm not reading that. I'm just surmising that from what I've read. The complaint includes UC Berkeley's undocumented student program. It's actually what they call it, an undocumented student program. It's been in place since 2012, serves 500 students annually. They provide counseling, financial support, mental health support, legal support, professional development opportunities only to undocumented students. Not available if you have a birth certificate from the United States. Well, this Equal Protection Project, which is a legal foundation, put in a letter. They urged the DOJ to immediately open a formal investigation of what it calls systemic discrimination against American-born students at the California colleges. Now, keep in mind, the California colleges get huge amounts of federal money. Well, according to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, they shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. They're asking the DOJ to take legal action to secure appropriate remedial relief. If they find violations, well, it's obvious there's violations. It's in writing. It's in their rule books. It's in their handbooks. It's in their operating guides. The largest California state higher education system have decided that American-born students are not worthy of equal treatment on par with DACA and undocumented students. The Equal Protection Project and Cornell Law School professor William Jacobson said that this systemic discrimination cries out for action by the U.S. Department of Justice to enforce the civil rights laws and constitutional guarantee of equal protection. But you see, many don't believe that it's discrimination if we help people of minority class, if we help people from illegals, if we help people, because it's a white supremacy country, and assuming you're naturally born citizens. I mean, American citizens aren't all white by any means, only 60%. But if you don't even need help, you guys are given everything anyway, which none of that's true. It's all a lie. We all should be equal in every aspect. The Equal Protection Project is a nonprofit organization that seeks to ensure equal protection under the law, just like its name. It's challenged more than 600 programs and scholarships it considers discriminatory in over 125 colleges and universities nationwide. This is just the latest project. This is a state-sponsored discrimination, so it cannot be fixed at the state level. If the federal government doesn't act, the discrimination against American-born students throughout California higher education will continue unabated. Barack Obama started the DACA program, which was protection from deportation and work authorization to illegal immigrants who arrive in the U.S. as children. Now, Jacobson does not complain about or does not challenge the inclusion of Dreamers or undocumented students in these programs. Instead, he challenges the exclusion of American-born citizens. It's not that you have a program. It's not that the Dreamers and other people can't join in, but you've excluded people, which is in direct violation. He's arguing the program should be equally available. Timothy Snowball, that's his name. He's one of the senior attorneys. He said, as a California native with degrees from a community college and from U.S. Berkeley, I am appalled at the discrimination against American-born students. If our own institutions of higher education discriminate against American-born students, how can we trust those institutions to educate the next generation of leaders? I was a high school dropout, know exactly what it is like to need extra support in becoming a successful college student. Tutoring programs, career counseling, financial aid are an important part of this process, but such benefits should never be withheld from American-born students in favor of DACA or undocumented students. I take civic pride in filing this complaint to the U.S. Department of Justice against both my community college alma maters, Grossmont College, and my university alma mater, UC Berkeley. I am upholding the principles of equality and equal protection those institutions once espoused but now betray. I feel good about all this. Yeah, let's stop discrimination. You know, it used to be discrimination was only for one group of people. But as we see more and more, there's one group of people that are immune from rules, immune from everything, and they get all the benefits. They get the benefits handed to them because of their skin color, their DNA, community they grew up in, and that's how we choose the haves and have-nots. I'm going to mention this guy since I've talked about discrimination. Waja Ali, he's a podcaster, and apparently well known and supported. I don't really know him, but he's against white Americans who support Donald Trump, and he's telling everybody that whites have already lost the battle. I didn't know we were in one, but Trump on late night Thanksgiving on Truth Social, he called a reverse immigration plan, pleading a permanent halt to immigration from what he described as third world countries, and a rollback from the Biden era admissions, which was millions and millions of people that just flooded into the country, disruptive. So this Ali condemns white culture as either bland or stolen from others before he responded to the Trump's comment. He says, "We're not going back. I want the hate mongers who watch this. And I hope they do watch this because I know they hate watch us. You've lost. You have lost. You lost. The mistake that you made is you let us in the first place. There's a bunch of us and we breed. We're all breeding people. And the problem is you let us in 1965. He made reference to the Hart-Celler Act, formerly the Immigration and National Act of 1965. It's a major turning point in ensuring a browning of America. Ali was not. He wasn't shy about the white culture and all that. He says, I want you to realize this. You have lost. You've lost. White supremacists, white nationalists, you've lost. You're losers. Your story is a crap-filled, or I say poop-filled with misery. It's filled with bland chicken. It's filled with terrible, terrible, dry butt meat. Your music sucks. All your culture sucks. He also suggested America's like a house, and MAGA conservatives, rather than sharing the house, will burn down the entire village. And then if you voted for Trump, so we're not going away, and we need to get sent away. Literally, your poop hole country will become the United States of America. It will sink. And he's talking mostly about white MAGA voters, who he referred to interchangeably as white supremacists, and urged white people of goodwill, if there is such a thing, to confront their relatives and neighbors about racism this holiday. You need to have tough conversations with your white family members. I got to say, I'm sorry. This is what people of color say when we're not looking. We say these whites, man, they got to talk to their fellow whites. It's your Uncle Chad. Yes, he made a great turkey, but he's also a racist. It's your Aunt Karen. Yes, she's so good with the kids and she goes to church, but she's also a racist. You got to have these blunt conversations with them. Now, I guess as Ali got some pushback on that, they thought, you went too far. You said out loud what we're supposed to say in private, I think. So he came back to backtrack a little bit. He said critics of his are making a bad faith interpretation of his video. that he was merely criticizing white supremacists and anti-immigrant hate mongers and their bland-ass lives and terrible food. He's not anti-white. Yeah, don't believe what I say. Just believe what I'm telling you now. It's amazing that we have these kind of people around, and they feel justified. They feel correct that that he's not racist because he's fighting racist, I guess. I think it's all misguided, and it's unfortunate that he has a podcast that's substantial enough to get noticed, that he's large enough to get noticed. I've never seen him. I'm not going to. I'm not going to support it. But it's out there, and it's outrageous, and I think it's all getting more outrageous and more visible. And people need to say no to all of it. No to the colleges that support racism, and no to the guys like that spout racism and call it what it is, which is racism. It's unacceptable from anybody. I'll be back tomorrow. It is 9 o'clock, AM 560, KBLU.